Hey,
Hey, and we're
how are
back.
you? Sort of.
Welcome back to low energy videos of some sorts.
Hello. You're
Uh,
full of shit.
that's not true. I'm the greatest.
Let's fight.
Hey, and we're back. There we go. So yeah, we're having some technical difficulties involving audio. They're very technical and very difficult. I don't know what's going on, and let's try this. Let's try this. And can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Although now I can hear an echo on myself from the stream.
That's probably from me, but
Yeah, you can just turn that off. Right, so we are back playing Dragon Age, but this technical issues is they're getting pretty bad. So I don't know how long we can do it for. If this is going to keep happening.
if we can have a conversation, I'll be happy.
Yes, a single conversation. Let's talk about the weather. What's the weather like where you are?
Miserable. How about you?
Same.
Oh my god, twins.
Twinsies. We should get matching
Twins.
bracelets.
Oh my god, we should get matching colors.
I want the purple one. It won't be
There's
purple
only
after.
one.
Well, if it makes you feel it won't be colored purple after a while, let me tell you.
Oh, who, boy.
So this is a great way of starting a charity stream, talking about dildos. We are of course doing this for the Leitirm Animal Shelter. You'll find the link of it down below. Just scroll down, find it. Scroll down their page, see their donation. Donate as much or as little as you can. And if you do tell me. So I'll actually be aware that I helped some people out who deserved it. Which unfortunately means I'm stuck on the honor system of people. And that's scary.
Well, you see, I'm glad you point that out because I would like to tell everyone watching now and in future that I donated $6,000 to this cause. Totally, definitely did that. Yep.
Wow, that was so brave and honest of you. And just to think, that money was going to
Yep.
go to COVID research.
Fuck COVID.
Doggers matter more than COVID, 100%.
Duh.
Doggers.
Getting COVID.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus. They'll be fine. They're doggos. COVID's not that cruel. It's only going after us horrible humans.
Didn't they
Oh.
say early on that it is transferable?
Oh no, it is. It is transferable, but it is not. It doesn't have the same effects. It just stays in their blood. Up to I think 14 species now can get it and pass it back to us. You were on. I think you were. It was either you or Magicus was the guest on Bearded Rambling when we looked at that the mink farm that had in I think Denmark had to be culled because because they found that COVID was in the ferrets.
Damn. Did they burn it?
I think they burnt it all down and killed off all the little minks. Yeah,
No.
I know. I mean, it was kind of sick enough that there's a mink industry still around these days, but the fact that also then the whole creatures just had to be all completely slaughtered. Happened in Ireland too.
Well, I blame you for that one.
Well, of course, but that's because I have sex with the ferrets, you know.
Well, that and you're the sole representative of Ireland in my life, and therefore responsible for everything.
In your life? Am I the first Irish person you've ever met or talked to, rather?
No. It's been a while. I've met people in passing from the United Kingdom, but you and I have had more conversations than that. So there it is.
There is. I makes sense. The it makes sense. The gay the Ireland isn't very populated, so it's not like we just every day you can spot us. Um,
Yeah. I have met more Russians than I've met Irish.
I can totally get that one. Uh, Russians are everywhere.
Mostly because they're spying on me, but let's be real.
Well, yeah, I mean, the launch codes.
True. I have the football.
You do. Of
Thinks
course,
it's a red suitcase the president carries. It's actually like
an
my
actual.
duffel bag from ninth grade gym.
Just there next to like an empty can of like Axe body spray and just the codes.
It's just filled with cum socks, so no one has to look in there.
The hazmat, the scene from Chernobyl is reenacted. They're in like the hazmat suits and they're just going in like going inside.
The Geiger counter's going off.
You can only spend no more than 5 minutes in this area at any given time. Suddenly, a hand grabs one of them and goes. It's like an SCP.
So much dry jizz, I can't handle it.
Oh, it's like crackers. Yeah, it's a consistency of crackers.
So donate to charity, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing this for a good cause. Donate your cum socks to charity.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure someone will want them somewhere. Probably that dude in the corner who's not blinking and grinning constantly. Name your price.
Man, I'm so glad I don't have an entertainment career. I can say shit like this and no one gives a fuck.
Oh, God. I feel so sorry for like comedians these days. They're hamstrung by so many things. Hey, I've got an opinion. How could you? I'm gonna
off to the gulag.
Yep, off to Twitter jail. Twitter re-education camps. Jesus.
Shit on Twitter. I like like 3 people on Twitter and reshares Trubisky streams, and that's about it.
After I got my account back, I was just hooked. I can't help it. And
I never got into it. Like I don't have that much. Like I don't want people that deep inside my brain. Like,
very smart of you. Meanwhile, I had the dubious honor of having my first drunken tweet at a crush. That was smart of me. Yeah, especially because I couldn't remember it the next morning. So like it was hour blissfully for hours, and then I saw a reply, and it was just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what? Oh god! So I checked and I scrolled up, and it wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was. But it was completely like this person doesn't know who the fuck I am.
I've been following you on Twitter for like 3 years, and like you never say hi to me, and I want you to know that I like you a lot. Okay, thanks, bye. Maybe when the lockdown's over, we could go see a movie. I hear that the new. Did you insert awkward about to cry gasps in text form into your message? I hope so.
I think I redid like the meme of like what if we kissed under the and then enter this. I think that's what I went with, and then it was just I won't even say who. And it wasn't even. I didn't even send them a private message. I sent them it publicly, like as a response to one of their tweets. No. Yeah. So the person who said it wasn't them. It was. So I've muted that whole line. Let me be the laughing stock I deserve to be. That was a fucking stupid thing on my. You think I'm 30-something? You think I'd be smarter by now? Oh, we all have our moments, I think. Yeah. I mean, if you saw her, you'd know exactly why I'd be fawning over her like the simpoid that I am. Ew, love, you're a simp. Ew. Yeah, no one wants. Ew. Is it? It's. Simp sounds Twitch. Simp sounds. Simp does sound smelly. Sounds like something you'd see in your bag full of cum socks. That thing with the hand is called a simp. Oh no! We're creating our own little ecosystem in that bag. Jesus.
I think we should write it on fan fiction of what I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll Brian, we'll it's like
Are
improv.
there any graphic artists in the in the two viewers watching?
Not on, but
Putting
yeah,
names in the butt?
I could definitely
Can we get a
commission one or
graphic
two.
novel going? I'm just saying, like we could be the next big thing.
Mm.
The Cumstock Diaries.
Yeah, have it like play it completely straight. Like have it like really see. They're like diaries of like former class. It should be like an SCP. It could be like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, SCP number 165.
It should be like Resident Evil 7. Yeah, that's what we should do. Yeah.
Go into the Cumsock universe.
Ah! No! There's Cump and Simp everywhere. I said Cump. Oh my god.
Cump!
Cump socks.
So it sounds like a knockoff version of Trump that a parody game would have of him. President Cump! Cump! Yes! Oh, please let that...
That's the most disgusting word since Jankum. Oh my god.
Oh, Jankum. It took me years to realize what Jankum actually is.
I forgot on purpose. I've learned it multiple times. Don't remind me. I don't want to know.
Of course, it's always Billy who talks about it, so whenever he brings it up, I'm like...
And that's when I hear that like post flashbang ring in my ear whenever that word comes up. I'm just like, beep. It's like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Pass.
It's giving you PTSD, but for
yes, it's bad.
It's
all of a sudden the Metallica song 1 is playing in my head. I'm writhing in my seat.
Oh, kind of important. Let's see if we can actually hear you. It's giving you PTSD. You're still a little low, but I think I'm just drowning you out. So let me lower me down.
Yeah, I mean, I can up myself more, but it'll only get statikier.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, I can knock my mic down a fair chunk. There we are. That should make life a little easier.
That actually sounds better for me now too.
Oh, does it?
And do you want me to bump up a bit?
As much as you feel comfortable with. It's up to people in the chat, which haven't even shown up yet.
I can't hear me, so.
Yeah, I have to start learn. I've learned to kind of gauge where I am, and oh shit,
I'll give myself. I'll put. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I'll put
Spider.
I'm already comping myself 6. I'll add 2 decibels.
Smashy.
How is that?
That is.
How do I sound now?
You sound
good.
Cum
sucks. Hey baby, now cum sucks.
President Crump.
Cump.
President Cump.
God, I love that word. I love it so much. TM, 2 guns, no ammo. Fuck you. I'll DMCA
you. I should have sold all this shit off. Now I'm going to destroy tons of things. I think that sometimes I think that there should be an option in games to like turn on inventory and turn off like whether or not you should have like an inventory limit. I mean, it makes sense that you can only carry so much, but I mean, fuck's sake.
There's definitely balancing reasons for it, right? In various games, but it's not always right.
I think in this it's too low.
Dude, I've been playing the shit out of Valhalla, the new Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since Rogue, which was I believe 5 games prior.
Yeah, you're a bit behind.
It was either Unity or Syndicate that came out after Rogue. I forget. Quick plug on Rogue. If you either really liked Black Flag but want a new Assassin's Creed game, or if you never played Black Flag and for some reason you haven't, give Rogue a try.
Dirt's been
because when it was new,
Black Flag.
Black Flag is really, really. I mean, I played it once, but I have very fond memories.
Oh well, I played the whole thing on stream, so that's why I uninstalled it. I mean, it's very recent for me.
So the thing about Rogue, did you play Rogue?
No, I think it's the only one I haven't played that is
That's
No,
completely
it's
justifiable because it was basically a copy of Black Flag, with the plot gimmick being that you wind up as a Templar instead of an assassin, even though you still climb walls and do leaps of faith and assassinate people with wrist blades. You get recruited by the assassins, and for some reason or other they fuck you. It's an early spoiler, and the game is super old, so fuck you again. But the reason to play it is that it is, I believe, if I remember correctly, the ship combat is improved. It is iterated upon. There is more to do with it, a lot more.
I
And
wonder how.
especially if you're nostalgic for that part of Black Flag, pick up Rogue for probably less than $5 at any given point and give it a whirl.
I wonder
Um,
how it would compare with the sea combat in Odyssey.
I didn't play Odyssey yet. I do have it, but I'm an idiot and was playing other shit. Um,
Odyssey's
but
okay. I
I heard it was all
pers-
right.
Yeah, it's exactly what you think. It's like Assassin's Creed. It's very pretty impressive at times to just be sailing around the Aegean, and it's not nowhere near big enough, I think, but it's all right. Of course, it's an Assassin's Creed game, so it's going to be very repetitive. It's going to
I
be
I am, yeah, it definitely is. In Valhalla, the real insane gamer asked if Valhalla is good. I brought it up because you mentioned something about inventory, and that made me think of quality of life. And then I thought of Assassin's Creed because that was going to be my next rant, and then I ranted about Rogue instead. Don't do drugs, kids. Um,
or just
but
do
I'm
more of
at
them.
least, or do more, whatever your taste. I think I'm booting up the stupid Ubisoft Connect thing. I think I'm about 150 hours into Valhalla, maybe more. Um, and I am max level. I have almost cleared the England map. You start in Norway and can go back to Norway, but I have not gone back yet. And I'm a good bit of the way through the main story, and with some DLCs to wrap up or whatever. I don't even know if they're DLCs. I bought the fucking pack like a simp, like a comp. Um, it's it might be the least historically accurate Assassin's Creed. I don't know for sure, but it's pretty bad. It
According to
is.
Red from
It
Only
is
Sarcastic, it's pretty bad in
according to
terms of.
according to him, according to Scalagrim, according to a lot of like. Now they're extra critical because they like to talk about like HEMA and medieval arms and whatnot. Um, if you're, I mean, the animations. You've probably heard about bugs in Valhalla, and everything you've heard is true. And most of them seem to be tied to animations. At least most of the ones I see. I have had some side quests break. Some of them have gotten fixed, others have not. I've heard friends have the main story break and then have to start all over. Although I wonder if they simply weren't. I happened to think to save frequently. There is a pretty low cap of 20 hard save slots you have at your disposal. I was just saying, I hit the cap and I was like, well, that few.
Yeah, that seems
So
cool.
if you saved often and fill a lot of slots, that's less of an issue. But it's still like, okay, this is a AAA title. Why is this happening? Um, there are, but with animations, I mean, I would try to use like a special attack and warp into the air, zip half a kilometer away from the fight, and fall to my death. Like that's happened maybe twice. Like other times, you get hit when you shouldn't, you hit something you shouldn't, you miss when you should have hit. Um, but all that aside, if you can ignore all the
A
it's not very
historical.
historical.
Yeah.
Ahistorical. If you can ignore that shit and just enjoy it as a Vikingish themed fantasy, it's kind of a lot of fun.
Kind of like Vikings, the TV show.
It's kind of pretty satisfying. What it gets right, I feel like it gets very right. It just gets enough wrong that it has turned many people off. I
I
clearly am not one of
wouldn't.
them.
I'd roll my eyes at. I'd roll my eyes at the historical part if the game's just fun. I mean, one of the favorite games I had growing up when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, it was this game for the PlayStation 2, I think, and it was like this Roman centurion who was forced to fight in the arena, and that you would get like the crowd would cheer you on, and if they liked you enough, they'd give you free shit. But they'd also like you'd be able to beat people to death with their own limbs. And I was like, well, this is so historically bullshit, but kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna turn my nose up at beating someone to death with their limb. I mean, like, there's just so many things I wish Valhalla did better. However, I am enjoying it. I just found Excalibur.
I hear
I liked it in the game.
I hear Ireland's going to be a DLC.
Yeah. It might already be. No, I don't think that's it. Vinland, they're calling it in the game.
Well, Vinland was like Newfoundland and things like that.
Okay, yeah, all right. I couldn't remember. They use a lot of the historical names, or at least versions of them. I don't know how accurate they are. But
Metal Monkey likes
again,
watching that and trying to guess the what they're called like today. A lot of those town names would be very different, but a few would still be the same. And then others are just like bastardized. A lot of shires and
yeah, they
chesters.
spell Shire. They spell Shire Scire.
Mm.
Yeah, they spell Chester. I think it's Cestre. It's Chester.
Yeah, it would be.
And there's Winchester. There's London is spelled Lundden.
That's Londinium, isn't it?
It might be.
That's what the city was originally called, and it's like it's mostly abandoned, isn't it?
No, it's very much a thriving city, and it's like a the whole thing is divided into provinces, and the that Winchester and one or two other cities are just like their self-contained thing, with a county like around them with its that they handle separately. And London is one of them. It's kind of in the middle of like 2 or 3 counties by themselves. It's here's what's up. My suggestion, if you like Assassin's Creed generally, is to wait till it goes on sale. If you haven't already bought it,
I'm gonna get it on the PlayStation 5 when that finally comes out of purgatory, and
that's probably a good move too.
It seems like a sort of game that would be cool on like a console when I'm just sitting in my bed and just bashing the controller. But it's not something like I still haven't beaten Syndicate, and I haven't even finished all of. There's the weird dance they do again for some reason. I haven't even beaten all of Odyssey yet. I've gotten like halfway through Odyssey and then I just stopped, which is weird because the game isn't inherently nothing wrong with it, but it's just something I've played over and over and over again. Like it's just the Assassin's Creed formula.
That's maybe I am helped by having a 5-game gap. I found aspects of it very refreshing but familiar. Now I'm sure from what I've seen of the intermediate games between Rogue and Valhalla, the change probably isn't all that dramatic, but that's just my perception. One thing I heard from some friends of mine that they liked over Odyssey much better than Valhalla is the outfit customization, of which there is basically none in Valhalla.
Oh.
Every set of armor, every piece of armor, I should say, is unique and worth keeping. You can't ditto your weapons. You can't sell them. You don't like have to sift through them in any way. And you level them up each piece individually as you choose to spec into the various skill trees and whatnot, and select your equipment accordingly. And on that level, it's pretty. In fact, I think that much is pretty well done. However, if you're looking for a lot of customization with those items, all you can do is you get a change in the appearance when you upgrade them far enough, and you can hide them from view when they're equipped, and that is literally it.
That seems a bit meh.
Now that's just aesthetics. You can like slot runes into them for special effects and stuff.
Oh, okay. What's this one? Ooh, I want that.
They're talking about Prototype in the chat. Prototype 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorite games ever.
Metal Monkey likes Prototype.
It's they're not perfect games by any means, but man, do I love them. Oh man.
I've always I've seen people play it and I've been like, it's all right. But I tried to play a game like what was it called, Infamous, back in the day, and
Yeah,
I just wasn't hooked. I don't know. I thought I don't know, maybe it was like just the character or like just the acting, but something about it was just off putting to me. But I still like being proven wrong. Like I like getting outside of my wheelhouse from time to time. Like I didn't think I'd like Limbo, and then I played that, and I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. I played a good chunk of it on this stream, and thanks to Bill Portley, I got Tyranny for free. And I'm like, I like the look at, I like the storyline of Tyranny. How you're playing like as the evil, like the Empire for a change. But I didn't think I'd like it because it reminded me too much of Planescape, which reminded me too much of reading, and there's only so much reading I can do in most games. But I started playing Tyranny on my own. I'm like, all right, this isn't too bad. I can get behind this. It's it gives me hope that maybe one day I'll return to Planescape or return to Baldur's Gate. I definitely want to get Baldur's Gate 3. That's something I've been
my one
hungry
buddy,
for.
the actual co-founder of my currently defunct podcast, Two Guns No Ammo, available on YouTube and SoundCloud, with a 90 episode backlog if you're bored. My co-founder loved Baldur's Gate. I never played it though. Um, I never played Infamous either, although I know that it is frequently compared to apples with Prototype. So coming at it from the other angle, um, I know Infamous. I mean, it's kind of right there in the name. You are some type of anti-hero. They're both character action, like mass beat 'em ups. The thing about Prototype is just the sheer number of NPCs on screen who you can just flippantly just flay into pieces without thinking about it, and it's just completely insane, and it's
Reminds me of
special place in my heart.
what was the name? It was like a Metal Gear Solid, Revengeance. You remember that?
No,
It was like a spin-off of Metal Gear, and it was what's the guy's name? Raiden, but now he's like a cyborg ninja, and he just flays. You know that game? What was it like? Fruit Ninja, where you have to cut the fruit up as it
yeah,
comes at you. You do
I
that
love
with
Fruit
Metal
Ninja.
Gear. You do that with Metal Gears, basically, and you're just like destroying the robots and destroying like private military contractors, and you're doing it in like really flashy, over the top way. And I thought that was hilarious. Um, uh, but I just didn't know. I didn't know. Like I was never very good at those games, but I like playing them. It's like golf. I'm very bad at playing golf, but I like swinging on the driving range.
I've been to the driving range twice. I think my furthest hit was about 30 feet. I'm garbage, and I have no
I don't even
inclination.
check it. I just love the feel of it.
Oh, I'm just eyeballing it when I say 30 feet. I don't fucking know. It was so pathetic. I was like, okay, well,
I feel sorry for the guy who has to go out and get the balls.
look what I can do. Nothing.
Ow. Um. Anyway, if you're all enjoying the stream, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out the link in the description down below for the standard stuff, um, Discord and Twitter and all that good stuff. But don't forget that we're doing this for charity. So before any of that, you should see a link to the animal shelter. So just scroll down, throw some money in, tell me in the chat, and if you don't, that's okay, but don't go and lie and say that you did, because that's a dick move. They're puppers and they're ketos and they're horse horse.
Don't lie to You wouldn't lie to a puppy, would you? You monsters.
If
I
you,
would.
I've lied to dogs all the time. I keep saying they're good boys, but number one, they're girls, and number two, they're definitely not good. They just pissed
Oh, and
everywhere.
you're misgendering them.
On
Wow.
top of it all,
Canceled.
yeah.
Canceled.
The girls, they don't know how things work. Women, am I right? I'm gonna die alone.
Rip.
uh, um,
I had a joke and now it's gone, and I blame you for it. You prick. You
No,
fucking
I'm a fucking
bastard.
I'm a piece of whore meat. I am
Oh,
just horrible.
it's not so much. Yeah, you are. But beside the point, I remember now, and that doesn't change your status. However, it's less of a joke and more of an anecdote, and more less of an anecdote and more of just a pattern of behavior, which is me pretending to threaten pets in a very cutesy way, especially when they're little shitheads, and I'm petting them, and I'm like, "Who's a little piece of shit? Who's a little asshole? I'm gonna put you in the oven. I'm gonna put you in the oven. I'm gonna make some kitty cakes. You want someone to make some kitty cakes? Some kitty burgers? Oh, he's a little kitty burger. Nom 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 nom. They're like, yeah, I'm a cat, sure.
Meow and shit. I'm gonna lick my balls now.
Meow, etc., etc., et al.
Um, my mom used to have this weird habit of like giving like her dogs more intelligent than they really would like could have, and I would often give it like an example. I would always be like, okay, so I'd get the dog and I'd be like, "You're a good girl. You're a good girl. I like you. You're a good girl." And just like the dogs, of course, thinking that she did something wrong and would look sad, and then I'd be like, "Oh, he's a piece of shit. You are. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't like you."
Yeah.
And she's just wagging her tail because she's a fucking dog and she doesn't know the words. She just knows the tone behind it.
She knows the tone and the language. It's,
Yeah, she might know one or two words, but like,
yeah, the body language. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh, my dad used to have a dog who, I should say my stepmom had a dog, and she taught him that moron meant car ride. And there you go. Who's a moron? Who's you little dumbass moron? Hop in the car. It's hilarious.
God, I miss my dogs and cats. My ma still has. She's actually got two now, and but I haven't had a pet since moving out here to the countryside. I kept on coming up with excuses not to. But at some point, I should really like think about it. It would be good mentally, and if I get a dog, it'll be a perfect excuse to lose a few pounds by walking him. But you know, you say that, and then like months pass, and they're getting as fat as you, just lounging about all day. You might
Call me fat bitch. Call me
or,
fat.
or I'm calling you rotund. That's what I'm calling you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it has the word ton in it, so you know it's bad, but it's also classy.
I don't know what that word means, and it upsets me.
American education system at work and healthcare system by the amount of food that you're eating.
Well, little column A, little column B.
And then you can't afford the ambulance ride. Hooray! I am. Did you see? Not to get like so off topic into the horrible world of politics, but did you see the COVID bill that was shot down?
No, I heard some things about it.
Yeah,
I heard that it was like 99% pork bullshit.
it was like they're offering like 600 quid to people, like not even.
It's like a one time, isn't it?
That's a one-off. That's even smaller than the last time they did it. Like, wasn't it like?
Yeah, it's half.
Yeah.
It was 1,200.
So it's going to be 300 next time.
Yeah, and the kicker is like I'm not religious. I am very fortunate for my situation. I work from home. There was literally no interruption in my income at all, and I know that I am lucky for it, right? So like I have a day job, and I never didn't as a result of this. So, but I got my $1,200 anyway, back in June or whenever it was.
Yeah, it was something like
and
that.
And it's like, I mean, hey, whatever. I got loans to pay off. Sure, don't mind if I do. However, like if you can just blanket throw $1,200 at everybody once, and you can send hundreds of millions or billions of dollars overseas for their shit. Like, I'm not like one of these libertarian, like America first 100% of the time, all the time kind of guys. However, we kind of need that money right now. What can I do?
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, like if we're not gonna cut the military, which hey, there's a big chunk of change just sitting around. Um,
But freedom,
the
that's the thing. You see, freedom.
the, the freedom to oppress. Okay,
Yeah, because
the
they'll do that
freedom
to
to
you if
have
you. Yeah,
dominion.
yeah. They'll do it to you.
And here's what's up. Here's what's up. I, as a like lower middle class taxpayer, don't reap the benefits of that dominion over the earth. Like not in any tangible like day to day
Yeah,
way.
like your
It's all about
fuel
the power
doesn't.
upstairs.
Your fuel hasn't done anything but go up. Like that's perfect. Like normally all those ones involving like what the hell happened there? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, my phone just died on me. So I was like, wait, did something happen? Did an EM blast hit? Am I just outside of a massive nuclear strike? If so, it's very specific. I think
They're
we're back.
nuking us from space.
Yeah, because we're saying that it should stop having the budget. If only there was a big countries like big military to save us all. But no, we had to give it all to the poor who didn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And now they're dying like the rest, and the Zorblexians will take us over.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. I mean, I'm also not like a communist or a socialist. I just see everything. It's all they're all tools. They're all like if you open a toolbox and you got some, some different kinds of hammers, some different kinds of screwdrivers and wrenches and sockets and screws and nuts and bolts and this, that, the other, right? They're all tools. Okay. And ever since, I don't even know when. I'm not a fucking expert at all. Please ignore me. Uh, Ever since like the people have opined on large scale governmental systems, they have, everyone kind of has their pet. They have their pet ideologies and they build a thing around it, and you get your, you get all your little variants. I don't have to list any, but you know what I mean, right? And that's all well and good. But if you just choose to build an entire government off of a narrow string of notions, you get you get the entirety of human history. You get revolutions, revolts, collapses, slow declines, like erosions. There's a lot of people talking about America becoming the next Rome and just kind of withering away.
I think that's almost LARPy and talking. In what's going to happen is America might wither away, but it'll be a very American style of withering away. I could,
Oh yeah,
I could just see like, for example, I couldn't imagine America breaking up as easily as say it did during the Civil War. Instead, I could imagine just the federal government losing all power and control over to what regional things will be. That'll only pay lip service to America. And eventually there'll be
yeah.
like a massive thing. Like maybe China will see a chance to take an island or two, and America will send its army out and lose, and that'll be it. There'll be protests in the streets and like.
Well, we already did that.
Um,
We've been doing that for half a century, my guy.
yeah.
That's or more, 3/4. If you can
But I mean, like,
nothing.
lose. I'm talking about live on the news, just watching like 2 aircraft carriers burning away, because you haven't because America's government has been like funneling money to all the wrong places, even in its military. Like, how much money do you guys spend on hand sanitizer in the military? Up to COVID, there was no real need for that. But you guys pay millions of dollars for like for lip balm and shit like that, all because they're contracted out. So someone had to be on the floor of the Senate or Congress, wherever, and say, "Hey, um, I represent such and such. How much money do you want to push forward this bill to get lip balm?" It's ridiculous that America's become this convoluted Byzantine mess of backhands. Like
It's an
just
oligarchy.
it
It's
is,
an oligarchy. That's
and
all it
that
is.
and it's perfectly seen by it's a two-party system. I think the countries that are doing best are the countries that are easily adaptable. You can say whatever you want about China, but China's financing itself better than other countries because it adapted. If it was still Maoist communist, it would be a backwater, and it would still probably have to very slyly open up free markets. But now it can have its cake and eat it too. At one moment, it can bring in all the tankies talking about how great China is because they're a bunch of fucking simps, tankies. But then you, on the other hand, you can be like, yeah, but we can still get companies in here as long as they obey our rules because we don't have free speech. And then you end up with things like GOG pulling Devolution out of its lineup because it had a scene where they make fun of Winnie the Pooh. Oh, I wonder who that's meant to be. Like, it's just, this world is, it's like I'm watching this world collapse where only the bad people are benefiting from it. And some of those bad people happen to be in, like, other countries in charge of it, like Putin. Putin's top of the world right now. He could very well be the most powerful man on earth right now. And he's a monster. So it's fucking terrifying, man. But
Well,
I'm not.
it's not exactly a new idea that being brutal and selfish will help you climb to the top. It's kind of been the case literally forever. And it is against that impulse that the more stable societies have been able to grow, right? Like that has been a force working against it in a lot of ways. Sometimes for it, right? Like you get a powerful leader who gets his people on board, or hers, and with the shit he wants to do, and with or without force, but even without. And once you get a whole mass of people moving toward a narrow set of common goals, like that is the argument for liberal ideas like democracy, socialism, communism. It's trying, like the thing that differentiates democracy from those other ones is that it's putting it espouses to put the decision making and the power in the hands of the electorate, on very broadly on paper, right? I'm not super not an expert, please ignore me.
No, like, but direct democracy,
whereas
is
yeah. And I think iterations of socialism and communism, and please correct me if you know better, also aspire to do that. The problems come in when you don't have a sense of like unified. People like some people like to lead. A lot of people are too busy. A lot of people follow because they have other shit on their minds. You know what I mean? Most people. That's why you get you get people conscripting into the armed forces. They have families to feed. Like they don't care. They don't necessarily care about the swastika on their arm, or the American flag on their arm, or whatever the flag is.
Hell, I
and whatever they're talking about. Like I used to get in arguments with this one cat who was like extremely SJW, right? Particularly, he's African, right? African American. So particularly that angle of it. Like if you even. He was just extremely sensitive about it. Like having a constructive conversation with him on that subject was not possible. I tried anyway, and and in the course of that, like I'm half Jewish on my mother's side, so effectively Jewish, culturally speaking. Even though I could probably count on between both my hands how many times I've participated in a Jewish holiday, and I've celebrated Christmas every year of my life. So figure that out. But like I'm like, people like see the curly hair and the bit of a, arc in my nose, and they're like, wow, it's not frequent, but like there have been people who have crossed paths with who are like openly anti-Semitic, and I'm like, okay,
I can relate to that.
Fuck
I've
you,
got
buddy.
Jewish blood in my system as well.
Yeah, so I only bring it up because, really as a point of comparison and contrast with the black experience, because I can't talk about it because I'm not that and don't deal with it. And it's obvious that shit happens much more frequently and more out in the open in my country. And that is all well and good. But I was coming to the broad defense of World War II German soldiers, at least some statistically significant population of them, who were, just like I said, only in it for the paycheck, for the stability. Their country was in ruins after the First World War, both, less physically, I think, but definitely financially. And all of a sudden you have this powder keg of all these reasons for one schmuck to rise to the top. And people are like, well, the Nazi party was a socialist party. It's like, yeah, until like the Night of Long Knives. And the brown shirts were exterminated. And oh, just kidding, we're fascist now. We just have socialist in the name. And that is what's happened to all of the major quote unquote extreme left regimes over the 20th
They
century
always
in
get
particular.
corrupted by.
They get they go from that extreme left, and some, either super charismatic or super brutal or both personality, usually one person, sometimes a group. They always have help, right? But
Mm,
they close that circuit between the ends of the horseshoe, and they jump to the other side, and now they're fascist. And that's just another case in point. Every one of those regimes, from Hitler through Mao, pick one. I don't have to list them all. I can't remember them all. Drugs, but with all with in, the reason why this keeps happening is because we're building these constructs off of idealizations, and you need to take a more nuanced, piecemeal approach. We can have our second humor me, we can have the American Second Amendment, including with better iteration of current laws, right? I'm going to give like no new laws, just fix the current ones, fix the enforcement. Let's give that tablet, for this example, to the right wing in my country. Give it to them, right? And then on the flip side, end the war on drugs, socialize healthcare, just healthcare, right? You know, and I want to know what making those two moves would do. If we have healthier, happier people who have add a social safety net, do some of these ideas, but keep as many other freedoms intact, and let's see what that does, because that is not what the American experience has been doing. Experiment, I meant to say. Like, it's not like it's just ideologues butting heads and nothing happening.
um,
This has been my TED talk.
buy my book. Uh, Honestly, like I do agree there. Like it is usually a case where like revolutions be eventually like twist and turn, even if, especially because like no one considers themselves evil. Everyone always considers themselves to be doing the right thing for the right time,
Of
even
course.
if it's something that's like unpleasant. I used to read a lot of stuff about Castro. He was near the end of his life. He got into a lot of interviews, so he'd say stuff, and while a lot of it was clearly stuff that was vetted by his people, there was sometimes like he would be called out, especially for like his executions and things like that by the people, and he was like, "Well, they do that in Europe," and he's like, "No, they don't." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And you're just thinking, "Oh, this guy's losing his fucking mind because he's like 100 years old. He can barely remember. He probably thinks the Soviet Union near the end of his life, the Soviet Union was still in one piece, but like he took over Cuba on the back of socialism because he didn't want to have the weight of communism, but he was always secretly a communist. However, there was always two factions of communism. The Maoist communists out of China. That's the one where Che Guevara was a big proponent of that, and that's why he had to leave Cuba, and that's what led eventually to his death. And then you had Castro's Soviet sort of styling that led, of course, to the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that shit. Um, but it's like perfect case of like there's always going to be infighting, no matter what group you are. Even in really tiny countries, a while ago, all of Luxembourg's politicians had to resign, the entire cabinet, because it was found that they were all corrupt. Luxembourg. Like no one ever thinks of that, but they're a stable country. But they
Well, but yeah, because they have a population of 15, and it's pretty easy to
but even
compared to a
there,
population of 340 million.
yeah, even
Yeah.
then, like there's a country that almost no one ever thinks about other than as an obscure little footnote. Um, and they had to deal with corruption. Like every country has to deal with this to some degree or another, and that's why you get people who come from countries that are doing really well, like say Scandinavian countries, and they're bitching. There's always going to be someone bitching about something, and a lot of times people are bitching because it's not like the reverse isn't happening. Like I know a lot of people who bitch about how Norway is being maintained or Sweden is because they want it to be more like America. Well, you've lived in America your whole life, as far as I'm aware. You know
Yep.
for a fact that's a system that doesn't really work. Like,
Here's what's up, okay? Think for just a moment about evolution and natural selection, right?
mm,
These processes work on good enough. The principle of good enough, contrary to what like opponents of these scientific theories have to say, where everything is too deliberate for it to make sense. The opposite is true. Everything is just random enough. It's random, and then real life kind of hones that edge. And it's just, if you can get to fucking good enough.
yeah,
Sure, you have
bare
like
bones.
you have a spare dick, and your hips don't move your legs, but if you can waddle over and stick it in something, and something else pops out of the recipient, and they live on to do the same later on in their life, it's good enough. And the same is true of the US. It's good enough. We keep paying our taxes, and we keep electing people. And it just keeps waddling along, getting
There
fatter
is
and fatter and
there is
dumber and dumber.
changes that go on that are pretty cool in America. Like most people I know, and a good few of them are fans of this channel, their major concern is legalization of weed, with medicine being secondary.
Yes. Yes.
And that is
Yes.
slowly changing. That is America is one by state legalizing weed. Sometimes, like what happened in Ohio, it gets shot down, but then it can get brought back a few years later with like a better laying it out, and the state legalizes it, and suddenly there's a shit ton of money. And then other states see it and go, ooh, maybe we have been looking at this war on drugs the wrong way. But some people don't want that. They want the revolution tomorrow, and that's no revolution happens tomorrow. Revolutions build, and they build, and there's series of like stages. Um, and if like all the lefties, or hell, all the right wingers of America were to suddenly get up and try to secede from America, they'd be shot. They'd all be killed. Like
Maybe treasons.
it would just be piles of dead people everywhere. If it was like on the left, you'd have a lot of dead Black Lives Matter and like Antifa, and on the right, you'd have MAGA and Proud Boys, just piles of them dead. And it's because that's not how a revolution. You'll want the army to basically just go, no, you know what? They've got a good point. Why don't we have legal weed? Like you want every facet of a country to side with you to make massive changes, but it doesn't happen overnight. You have to make baby steps.
That's true. Here's the reason why we're seeing, in my opinion, 100% my opinion, no one else's, the reason why we're seeing that with weed, and the reason why it took so long, let's start with, is because of how it became legal in the first place, and that is racial oppression and
Logging industry, wasn't it? The paper barns.
The paper that was a big part of it, and also private prisons. And what we're doing by saying, hey, let's stop putting people in jail for this, is we're telling very, very, very big wealthy companies, hey, we're going to take a big dumb slice out of your bottom line. And they're like, this is America. My bottom line is the only thing I care about. It's all that matters to me. If I can't get richer, I would rather die. And so
you've seen it with the COVID. The amount of people who are like, oh, right. so some of the sick people will get killed. They're old, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've also per Jeff Holiday and his sources have never eradicated or like gained proper herd immunity from just letting it spread willy-nilly. Like,
no, Britain tried that and it was a fucking disaster. They're now going into like tier 4 lockdown.
People tried that because we didn't have vaccines yet and we didn't have much of a fucking choice, and it didn't fucking work. And whatever. Anyway, total tangent. What fuck was I saying? Oh, the thing with weed is the reason why I think we're winning that battle now is because we're presenting to state legislatures an alternative and better source of money.
Yeah.
Why would we keep paying these private prisons to put people in jail for stupid shit that will probably increase those prisoners' likelihood of becoming this, certainly not improving, possibly becoming even worse criminals, and very likely never really being able to right themselves if and when they get out. We can just not put them in jail and make all the tax money and use it for whatever we want because we're the government. Oh,
While looking progressive as fuck while you do it.
What exactly? Everybody wins. You don't get that with socialized healthcare. Not yet. You don't get that with reducing the military. You know, I mean, I'm a gun guy. I was advocating Second Amendment rights hypothetically a minute ago, and I didn't mean it just hypothetically. Separate topic. But, like, you know, I understand the implications that would happen to me as a civilian who cares about firearms if all of a sudden something drastic were to happen, like we ban the AR-15, right? Dozens of companies would probably go under, right? Most of them very small, and it'd be a very bad look, not just for conservatives, but for anyone paying attention to that sort of thing. Like,
Not to mention practically, tons of people would be out of work.
Exactly. I definitely now. Okay. The knee-jerk counterpoint is, well, there'd be fewer dead people. No, there wouldn't. Separate point. But with that specific move alone, right? Like being very specific, ban the AR-15, and it is something some groups are trying to do. But I don't want to get. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox about that sort of thing. I'm just throwing a hypothetical out there for the advocation for caution in gutting an industry, right? And private prisons, it's is one of those things that the reason why that's okay in that case, I think I've already made that case, and I think you agree.
I do agree, but I do also feel the need that if I had the power, I would put in laws that would piss off a lot of people relating to their guns. But the thing is, I wouldn't do it just in a vacuum. I have set up like something to replace it. For example, isn't there states that like have money to turn in guns, where like you bring
voluntary buybacks?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. There could be. New York might.
I think maybe that is, but I would also just like have a system set up that the urge to buy the guns wouldn't be necessary. I would have like a better education system that wouldn't basically result in like redlining a bunch of people who then can't get jobs and have to turn to crime to make money, or just like the attitude towards guns. You must have heard this from anyone you've met who's not an American.
Yeah.
Americans have a unique and scary view on guns. You see them one part toy, one part religious item. It's creepy to the rest of us. And whenever
I get it,
because they're not like it makes sense with cars. A lot of other countries also agree with you on the cars. You guys feel the same way with cars. They make more sense. They're more of a liberalized. They're more of like freedom. You get to go out on the road. You're an adult now. You got the world in front of you. Even if most of the time you just go up to the store to buy bread, it's still there.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing. That is an excellent analogy, and the feeling is very much the same with a lot of gun owners in this country.
It liberates you.
It's very apt. And when you say it liberates you, the religious component enters into it, and there's a bit of truth to it, but it definitely gets overblown. Is that it can literally liberate you, right? Would be the gimmicky way to put it.
With the whole militia thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of sort of a whole separate topic unto itself. But that seed of like, okay, and again, take the modern context out of it. This is just the seed of all this shit. Is if the government comes for me, I won't be toothless, right? And nor will my neighbors. That is the core idea. And once you touched that nerve, understandably they get, say, defensive. And I actually very much sympathize with it. However, and agree to it, in fact. However, that's not pulling me away from the table about recognizing the modern context I just told you to ignore, where we have 30 round magazines and we have, semi-automatic, competition grade, all kinds of goofy shit. What I ask for in this discussion, especially if I had the legislature's ear, would be to not cave to impulse and to take your time, as you should with everything else legislatively, including all the other topics we've mentioned today and will, I'm sure, and like pay attention to the little things and to the causes of the problems and to the reasons you're doing what you're doing. If you end the drug war, I want to know how much of the gun crime that inflates this country's stats evaporates. I want to know.
It would go down to some
we
degree.
take that step. To some degree, I think everyone can agree on that. It's not going to go up if there's fewer gangs having a reason to shoot each other in the streets, right? So, and to the extent of that, will probably scale depending on the nature and extent of the decriminalization and legalizations, right? So we can imagine hypothetically a scale of potential impact that a law like this would have, and you could. Again, not an expert, please ignore me, but there are these and other factors that need to be taken into account. So when people who are, and not to mention, by the way, half the country really, really, really wants to keep them.
Absolutely.
And the whole point is that if you try to take them, they want to fight back. Will they? Probably not. No. Can we deal with a tank or drones? No.
Especially the shouty ones in their car, you know.
How long were we mired in Vietnam? How long have we been mired in Iraq? And we have better shit here than our opponents in those theaters, okay? Like, we'll figure it out. You are forgetting what history says about revolutions. And if enough people are spurred to actually start one, and I get the skepticism that it will probably never happen, and I hope it doesn't.
No, because then something's clearly gone wrong.
Do you want to roll those dice, or do you want to address these problems in a holistic way that caters to your cultures? Right?
Yeah.
Because there are many, and the more you make these big, it's a big ship. It's slow to steer, and if you try to steer it too fast, you're gonna rip it the fuck apart. You're gonna Titanic that shit. You're gonna crash into an iceberg, and that, all I'm advocating for is nuance. I'm prepared to come to the table and take compromises on my Second Amendment rights, so long as I still have.
A lot of people
so long
won't.
As we're not taking.
A lot of people won't even do that much. Yeah, they'll just be like, a lot of people will. Like,
they're the loud ones, right?
Yeah.
Listen to them, put their shit in a folder, and then talk with the people who are more reasonable and able to have a coherent, productive conversation.
Do you?
Right? And that's not just guns. That's healthcare. It's the drug war. It's everything. Everything.
Do you would 100% agree? Like, if suddenly tomorrow a bunch of well-meaning but very short-minded people were to try to pass a law that said, like, hey, no more guns in America, it wouldn't end well for anyone, including like more like sensible and adult approaches towards guns, because now it would always be compared to the time they tried to take away your guns, literally. But there's no equivalent over here like this, and in a lot of other countries there's no equivalent. And because guns are designed to do one thing, kill people, like it just seems like it's one part. You'll literally make your revolutionary fantasy a reality just because we don't trust you with the things, just proving our point. But at the same time, most people I know are very sensible with their guns. Like very, very sensible with their guns. And the people who do tend to like break into like homes and shit like that normally don't have guns that are registered. They got them from back as someone's truck, you know?
Yeah. Well, as I understand it, most gun crime is not committed with legally obtained firearms.
No, it does happen, but...
Yeah, of course it does. Absolutely it does.
I mean, one thing I would actually do is I'd relate it more to mental health and gun ownership. If people didn't pass certain things related to mental health, their guns would be like frozen. They'd be taken away but kept somewhere until it looks like they're okay to have them back. Because I know more than once... It's been the case where like a veteran comes back home and within 6 months puts a gun to his temple. You know, um,
Yeah,
uh, which could be the softest outcome. Otherwise, he could have go postal and break into his office and shoot up the place.
right.
And the real issue there wasn't so much the gun; it was because he spent a couple of years in hell and was never diagnosed with it. Um, but I do think that we're both in agreement that things have to change. It's just you don't want to move too
Yeah.
quickly, and you don't want to move too.
It's not even that I don't want to move quickly. I just want, like, if we're able to move quickly, great. I want to move in a nuanced way. I want to move in a holistic way. It doesn't have to be slow. Probably should be, but like if we get to an answer that's sustainable and that everyone compromises enough that we have something functional, I'm a
Mm,
happy guy. Like, and there are I mean, yeah, like I'm sensible with my firearms. I'm not at a risk to anyone or myself. Like, I have a lot of them. I have more on the way. Fuck you. Here's the thing. I'm going to have to pass a federal background check for everyone that I have bought and will buy.
And you
It's
you don't you
done.
don't get angry at that, do you? You don't get angry at
No,
the fact.
it takes
You know,
like
a lot
five
of people
minutes.
do. Like the really loud ones are the ones that are annoyed that they have to like have a background check.
Well, of course, and they're fucking idiots, and they're loud, and the dumber you are, the louder you're likely to be.
Mm,
So, like, like you, yeah. I mean, there are many things in place that speak to these concerns already. But whenever you hear about someone saying we should enforce the laws that are already in the books, they're not wrong. It's not the whole picture. It's not necessarily like we should definitely leave it that way because of that. No, but there are things like it's called the National Instant Background Check System. Every time you go to what you do when you buy a firearm is you transfer it from the dealer to yourself or from the private seller to a dealer to yourself. It always goes, if it's legal, it always goes through a dealer. It's a federal registry that's checked electronically. It usually takes 5 minutes. The longest it ever took was 30. This is at the federal level, and you pay the transfer person. The shop will have a fee for it, and then there's the price of the thing itself, and you walk out. Right then, states will have their own thing. Some states have wait periods. Some states have other shit like magazine capacity limits and this, that, the other. Safe requirements. California is especially notorious for that because the safes that they force you to use aren't very effective anyway. But like
I heard
it's
that.
there's I'm a lazy fuck. I don't want to be inconvenienced ever. I get it, right? I'm talking to my fellow gun guys now. I get it. However, we have a lot of people who are not cared for well enough and who are fucking crazy.
Mm.
It is okay to take steps to make sure crazy people don't get
What do you think about the
modern super good guns.
you, you know the
It's
whole
okay to think that.
defund the police sort of thing? Which a terrible name. They could have come up with so much better. Downscale the police, reform the police, probably the best one. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What do you think of the proposal to have like cops be joined with social workers? Do you think that's a good idea, or about like for like wellness checks or like domestics? Because that's normally when they're called out. Do you think that's
I
a
mean,
good idea, bad idea?
broadly, yeah. It's not a system I know enough about to talk about much in depth, but I think it's definitely. I think the spirit's correct, at least, if
Yeah.
nothing more, maybe more.
Hell, the guest yesterday, Elf King, she told me a story a few weeks after I came back from the States, where her next door neighbor had to have the cops call over to do a wellness check because he was just screaming and howling, and of course he's ex-military, and he had a firearm on him, and eventually they decided he wasn't a threat and all that stuff. But then a few hours later, he came back and they had to come back because he said he was thinking about killing himself. Like that shit could have made that shit didn't result in blood, but I have a feeling that they
It
are
could have.
nowhere near as trained as someone who might have had like a degree in like psychology and the like
Well,
to deal with
the
that.
notion of defunding police is yet another example of a complete lack of nuance. And if it ever sounds like I'm just applying this to one side of the aisle or not, or the other. Let me reassure you, it applies to everybody because everyone's fucking stupid, including me. So, like, yeah, defund the police. Great. Now what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so not a Blue Lives Matter asshole. Super not.
Cops are
Right?
pigs. In fact, I think ACAB is a good term because even the good ones look the other way.
I think well, if they're not looking the other way, they're almost forced to look the other way. And
Yeah.
and here we get into police unions, but
the only unions I don't support.
Seriously, I don't think that defund the police is the right answer. I don't think that fund the police is the right answer. I think we need a nuanced, holistic, like researched, careful approach that does not just talk about the fucking budget for cops. Because, by the way, every little town, every little county in this entire country, and there's a lot of them, there's thousands of them, has their own precinct that sets their own rules, that deals with their own daily challenges, with their own people, their own local culture. This country's too fucking big to get up on a presidential platform and say, yeah, we're just gonna defund police, all of them, cut them all.
Yeah.
Or the opposite. It just doesn't work that way. For all the same reasons that it doesn't work for guns or healthcare or the stock market or any pick a thing. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Sorry, chat. By the way, if I haven't been catching up on you, I'll do that now. Let's see. And I am in agreement. I don't actually think anyone who was serious and committed really wanted like completely defund the police and completely like send them back to the fucking Stone Age. But Skep has the right idea. Defund was just a misleading term to begin with. Absolutely. A lot of Americans.
Some people. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, this is true, and you have to admit this. Two guns. A lot of Americans buy a gun with hope they get into a legally shoot someone with it.
I mean, I won't. You're not even wrong, Skep. But what does a lot mean, right? This is another thing where you're not even wrong, but to what extent is that even directly addressable, right? Like I have several. I hope I never have to kill anybody. Right?
Has it ever come close?
No. And well, there were a couple scares, but I've never had a draw on somebody. It's never happened. And I hope it doesn't. And it was just like I was in a grocery store and someone held up the little bank branch in there. But it was one of those like finger in the pocket, I have a gun, slide a note across and flee, and I like knew it, and I was just like, but he just bolted. There was nothing else to it. And I'm pretty sure when they got him a while later, and he didn't actually have one anyway. But anecdote, totally irrelevant. The point is I'm not eager for it. Like when here's the thing that you don't hear about. Okay, yes, there are some Americans who buy their firearm and who, even ones who go through all the training and do this, that, the other, and yeah, part of them does hope for it, right? They put this work in. If they did it right, they got all this training, and who knows, maybe they would be adequate. Maybe they have a background. Maybe they don't, but they train people who do. Who knows? There's every variant under the sun of this sort of thing. But there are also, and I would argue the preponderance of people who, if they're going to strap a gun on and they did the paperwork and they went through the laws and they got the training and they're walking around with it, they're like the prevailing doctrine among that community of which I am a part. I don't have like extensive training, but enough for my needs. It is an absolute dead fuck last resort. Your job is to get the fuck out of there if there's a problem, and if you can't, that's when you fall back on the P's. It's the fire extinguisher. It's there. It's better to have and not need than a need and not have.
And that's why I support. Especially like stores.
That is the prevailing doctrine. I don't have any more stats to back it up. However, I spent a lot of time talking to people in this sort of space, and that is what I get, and it's the way I feel. But most people don't want to hurt each other, right? Yes, some do, right? but and some of them are waiting for that just to the fucking what's his name, Zimmerman's, you know,
The dude who
the
shot the
Trayvon.
yeah, like he
Yeah,
was
well, the
wandering
fuck
around trying to be like the
that prick.
fucking sheriff of that place.
Yeah. He was being a hard ass, and he like. I mean, I don't know if in his example there was a threshold to identify that would have stopped him. However, I'm sure there is such a thing. Like I'm willing to talk about things like, you know, a mental health eval, maybe a more extensive initial check before you start buying guns, right? Followed by the existing ones we currently have with subsequent ones. Like, you know, I'm on, I'm open to ideas like this as long as they're not just off the table, because too many of us have this. Some people call it a sheepdog mindset. I think that's cringy and not 100% accurate. But just like, no, like I'm in it for myself and my loved ones, and like it's there in case I need it and nothing more. And the rest of the time, Skep, you say that the problem is people who treat it as a toy. Got news for you on that one too. Mine are toys most of the time. They're range toys. That doesn't mean I don't treat them with respect. That doesn't mean I don't take them seriously. That doesn't mean I don't follow rules. It doesn't mean I'm fucking willy-nilly brandishing them around, swapping, you know, throwing bullets through them, you know, pointing them at my friends.
No, I can't.
Being a
I can't
douchebag,
imagine.
right? They are
wiggle them around in
they're
his faces, you know.
yeah, like in a way, it's almost a martial art. The difference is that with a martial art, you have to work at it to definite to like I mean, you have to work at firearms too, but the barrier to entry is much lower in terms of skill, right? So you like you don't have to start by, you know, getting yourself into some decent shape before you can be competitive with a firearm the way you have to be competitive in the mat or the ring or in a street brawl. But in other ways, it's a very similar sort of thing where like it's fun. You listen to Joe Rogan talk about MMA, and he's like, I got choked out, and it was like one of the best times of my life. You know, this, that, the other. It's like a similar idea. I don't want to get shot, and it definitely wouldn't be the best time of my life. But going to the gun range with what is, you know, a couple parts short of a machine gun is a lot of fucking fun, and I'm not ashamed of it. As long as I'm also following those rules and treating my, you know, them and everyone around me with respect in the process.
No, it sounds like you have like an adult, mature way of looking at it, and it's just unfortunate that there's always going to be people who won't. But it's also just like it is going to be a cultural difference. Like Skep's from Canada, I'm from Ireland. I've talked to English people who just like scratch their heads when it comes down to guns, and it's just the barrier. Frankly, we don't really want to cross and understand it better. Other than, of course, I can see the appeal. I mean, what to say? A gun. What's the saying? A gun makes every man feel tall.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah,
like
there's a similar idea of being like the great equalizer, that sort of thing.
It's just something that I don't think, if I ever do move over to the States, if I ever like meet a girl, or who knows, even get like a visa or something like that and move over to the States, I don't think I'll ever get a gun. But who knows? Maybe I'll be an old man and I don't know, I'll have a break in, or I'll wish I had a gun then and there.
Hey man, I have friends who are like, you know, who I've taken out shooting for their first time or first couple times, and they're like, yeah, man, this is fun. I will always agree to come with you to do this, but I will never buy one for myself. I know that I would not be able to handle the responsibility. And I'm like, thank you for making an adult decision about it. Like, I don't have any investment if other people have guns. Like, I just want the people who want them and who meet some minimum, you know, list of criteria to be able to get as many things as they want within those criteria, right? And we can talk about what those criteria are, and that's where I'm willing to come to the table, and where a lot of other people are too. Okay, and maybe some need to be talked into it. And you're always going to have, you know, the Instagram and Twitter warriors, and you know, I'm in that community, so I see a lot of that shit. And I'm like, man, if you like, you know, if you came, like, okay, here's one thing. Here's one pipe dream of mine. Okay. Machine guns, okay, which is in our law considered any fully automatic weapon. Basically, it can be a rifle, a pistol. They're all machine guns if they're fully automatic, and they are illegal. Period, unless they were made whenever the law passed, 1986, I believe. Then it was Reagan. All the Republicans praise Reagan, and meanwhile he banned fully automatic weapons. They're one of the main
Always
things they
look the
hate.
other way with
Well,
Reagan.
one of the main things gun nuts hate is one of the things their Lord and Savior did. Is if they were made pre that law's passing in the 80s, they can be, and they were properly registered because of a law from the 30s, the National Firearms Act. If they're legal and they're old enough, they can be legally transferred between private citizens. You have to pass you have to pay a $200 tax stamp, which is kind of bullshit, and because they never tied it to inflation, it's been $200 since 1933, and you have to like submit like fingerprints and like a passport photo to the FBI, and it takes up to a year or more for them to approve it before you can take possession of it. But you can have a machine gun. However, anything brand new, you can't. One pipe dream of mine would be to repeal the NFA. And this is also true of like silencers and stuff, which are really safety devices more than anything, contrary to what movies would have you believe. I would love to have the NFA repealed and have all those sorts of things back on the table for civilians to purchase, brand new, in exchange for a much more rigorous and detailed screening process for those things, right? Let's just keeping it super broad for the purposes of our discussion, right? And couple that, it won't fucking work if you don't couple it with things like ending the drug war and dealing with healthcare and income inequality also, because that's where the crime comes from. So if you do this bucket of things, it doesn't even have to be perfectly done, just kind of close enough, because again, that's all this country is. It's kind of good enough, right?
Yeah.
You expand our liberties in exchange for making sure you should probably have every one of those liberties, right? And also you make who does, the only people who don't win from this arrangement are the ultra rich who profit off of the current status quo. Changed my mind.
Yeah, like
And
I can.
then we can look at the statistics after that sort of change, and then we can talk about banning stuff and actually curtailing the rights on a more mass scale. That's it.
Well, I think this topic's run its course because by the looks of it, we've just been going back and forth with me going, yeah, I kind of agree, with like a few caveats here
Yeah.
and there. Like you
I
definitely are
don't
far more
expect full
invested.
agreement.
No, I'm agreeing because you have a much more moderate approach than just leave my guns alone. You're not just howling
Yeah,
at
fuck
me,
that.
you know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's dumb.
one more thing though, because it's while it's on the topic, it's also a little bit different. The NRA, what do you think about it? Do you think it needs to be abolished, needs to be reformed, needs to
I mean,
be?
I have mixed feelings, right? It's because of the polarized nature of this subject and the fact that like it's enough of a right-wing monopolized thing now, at least in the public sphere, despite Democrats like me who are nuts about guns too. The NRA looks down on people like me who are willing to come to the table, and that's good and bad in that they're the biggest advocate for the Second Amendment, etc. The problem is they're not. They make no compromises. And that's true of every. They're not the only game in town when it comes to gun rights advocacy in this country. They're just the biggest and oldest. And I wish they were less. I mean, for one thing, they're corrupt. At least at the uppermost echelon. There was a bunch of shit about that not long ago. I forget exactly when and what, but basically Wayne LaPierre was accused of all kinds of like goofy embezzling and stupid shit. But aside from that, I mean, with the lack of a counter, with a lack of like amicability on the other side of the issue, at the government level, they're I hesitate to call them a necessary evil because I don't necessarily think they're necessary, but they kind of are insofar as maintaining my rights as they are right now.
They're the only ones who are still like even remotely fighting for like the guns, the rights that you want, but they're also
yeah.
like pieces of shit who just want to constantly get paid
they're pieces of shit, and they're not. I mean, no one's a fucking diplomat at the level of special interests or really government. Like everyone's a fucking everyone's a pet or a puppet or just like a
Or
line,
whatever
just
the
like
hell Charlton
single
Heston
issue.
was.
Yes, yeah. So they're just single-minded. Like no,
Mm.
right? And I think part of why the NRA has had it so easy over the however long they've been around is that the only position they have to take really is no, no, right? That's it. Everything else is window dressing. We want to pass a law. No, doesn't help that I agree that most of the laws that are proposed aren't, what I want personally. But
Even when
that's the
something
point.
useful is brought to the table, there are still responses. No, it kind of reminds you of
No.
the party up in Belfast. There, what's it called? All I remember is Ian Paisley was the head of it, and he was famous for just denying everything put forward at the table. To the point where I think Tony Blair had this story where he thought of the most inoffensive thing to talk to him when they're in an elevator, and he's just going, "So it's nice weather, isn't it? You might think that." Like he was just a grumpy piece of shit. He's dead now. No, like he was one of the worst people. But like, yeah, people like that, they don't do well. In all fairness, like the reason why I think they're getting I think major reason I think they're getting like defunded and like their loot. Didn't they like go into like investigation? Didn't like the FBI or someone like investigate the NRA?
Maybe.
As,
Maybe it could have been LaPierre, the head of it, because of those embezzlement things I mentioned.
yeah,
I don't know all the ins and outs,
but but I think one major reason is if they worked with people from the other side of it, they'd have more friends in power. But now the only people who seem to want to side with them are the right wingers who've just tied this all in with the culture war against the left.
yeah,
When
and
more and
too
more,
many of them have tied their ship to Trump in
yeah,
particular, and it's like,
and
well, man, now
that's
you're
worked
just
so
definitely
well for them, hasn't it? Oh, they
you're
must be so sick of winning.
dipshits. Yeah, it's just insane. Like, how did? See, I don't talk about politics very often because I get spun up, and I also am very ignorant in a lot of stuff. I kind of live under a rock most of the time.
Well, you're still,
Most
it's
of,
still affecting you. I mean, for starters,
of course,
you're in the country where you get to see it firsthand, but also like you hang around in like the communities that I do, and they often get very
yeah.
political. So
I get my shit through DP and DFF. Like that's my politics.
I get mine
like,
through like Vosh and the like, but also DP, and
yeah.
they're good places to start. If I want to keep looking, they're good places. It's like Wikipedia, Don't take Wikipedia at its faceest value, but it's a good place to start, especially if they've actually been edited right and have like links for sources. Like
Exactly,
follow
and
that line.
yeah, if I feel any particular way about something I hear through, I don't watch Vosh really, but I do watch like Jimmy Snow sometimes. I used to watch Young Turks, not anymore. But what the fuck?
Never really could get into the Young
What the
Turks. They
fuck
were
is
too
his name?
snarky.
What the fuck is his name? Secular Talk.
Oh yeah, Sec Talk.
And fuck, whatever. Through some fairly left-wing sources, but not exclusively, right?
Mm.
But at the same time, like I don't look much deeper than that. Like if I feel some kind of way about an issue, yeah, I'll Google it, but that almost never happens these days. I'm just kind of like, yeah, all right, like, okay, man, I'll show up at the polls, sure. Like the one thing that was nice though, a bit of a pivot, and forgive me if you didn't want it, the whole mail-in voting thing.
How that backfired.
What's that?
How that majorly backfired on Trump.
Oh man, here's I am a Democrat. I wasn't a Republican. I was unregistered. Well, I was registered. I was unaffiliated for the longest time, and then in 2016, I switched to Democrat specifically to do so, to vote for Bernie in the primary in my state.
Amen to that.
And I just never switched it back. And I wasn't Bernie or bust, but and there were things Bernie said I disagreed with. But whatever. There were things Ron Paul said that I disagreed with, and I liked him too. So what does that tell you?
Well, they're not saints.
I
They're going to
am,
make mistakes, or they're just going to have different viewpoints because they're not clones of you. You know, you have to find something
yeah,
that works
well,
best.
exactly. So you hear me rant about guns for 45 minutes, and I'm here to tell you, I am a gun nut, but I'm not a Republican, and I'm not a
Mm.
right winger.
And that's more and
Um,
more common. Like people on the left are realizing that like they need guns. Like
it's been
especially
around. In the 90s, there were gun loving Democrats all up in Congress. They've kind of dried up. And I think you're right. I think kind of people are starting to wait. The segments of the left are starting to realize that yeah, we probably shouldn't be too hasty with that side of things. But
just like people on the right are starting to realize weed is not the monster they've been told it was.
exactly. So the fuck were we talking about?
Mail-in voting.
I'm sorry. Mail-in voting. How to Jesus? I'm really good at tangents, aren't I? So yeah, I mailed in my vote for the first time because I live in Pennsylvania, and we didn't we had absentees, but we didn't have like mass mail-in, and I had to just like sign up on the website, confirm whether they wanted to mail it, and it showed up at my door, and it sat here for about 3 weeks because I'm a lazy fuck, and then I finally was like, I guess I can take a walk to a mailbox, sure. And I got a little email receipt that got counted. I did not expect that. We've received your mail-in ballot. Congratulations. Like, oh,
Cool.
thanks. Yeah, I was impressed. I legitimately did not expect one. But what was nice about it is, I mean, I got to look at my ballot before I walked into the voting place. And the only way to do that before was to like, I don't know, sacrifice your firstborn, do a rain dance, pillage some conflict diamonds and pawn them off to a one-eyed, seer in Chinatown and do it. It was this fucking ritual. And I would just walk into the polling place and be like, oh, these are my candidates. I'm probably just a fucking idiot, by the way. But I would walk into the polling place and be like, okay, I recognize literally the president, vice president, and one of my senators. Huh. And there's like 8 other people. Okay, well, I like the sound of that name, and I like the sound of that name. And when the mail-in got here, I was like, oh, I don't know who these people are. I have the internet. Hey, let's Google them. and I went and looked at their platforms, and I'm very proud to say I voted for every party on my ballot. Not because of obsessive compulsion, but because the Libertarian was the only one to talk about, he was a treasurer, the Libertarian treasurer candidate was the only one to talk about ending the drug war. Yes, please. That's like my first thing. I voted for the Democratic president and vice president. I voted for one of my state representatives is a Republican. He's been my rep for longer than I've been alive, and he's been extremely good for the local education system. He got my Republican vote, and great. Can we do this from now on, please? But he was winning. Trump was winning the night of the election. They should stop counting votes.
Yeah, except when he hasn't won, then they have to count all the votes that mysteriously vanished or were changed. Except that didn't.
Yeah,
more and more. I know you're not big into Twitter, but I love coping MAGA. It's just been it's been a ray of sunshine on Twitter ever since the election.
Have you seen a bigger bunch of hypocritical crybabies in your life?
They are literally crying. Like, they have no idea. The QAnon stuff has gotten beyond, beyond understanding. Because you see, they're all starting off with this idea that 1 + 1 = 3. But now they're trying to do quantum physics with that logic. It doesn't work. And then they're shocked when it doesn't
quantum physics is addition, right? It doesn't at all. I just made a stupid joke. Yeah, it doesn't at all. Again, these are fucking simple-minded people, and they're on both sides, and they always have been.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's only going to get worse the more we neglect things like all those social programs I was alluding to earlier, and I'll tack onto it the education system. Religion has too much of a hold, impulse has too much of a hold, and fifis have way too much of a hold on every side of every argument at the political level in this country. And it is embarrassing. It is so embarrassing to see. I mean, I got pretty passionate a little while ago, and I get it. But at some point, you just got to put it aside. Like you stop it. Be an adult. We're adults. I'm sitting here in a Fallout Christmas sweater and my underpants because I'm a fucking adult. God damn it.
I'm right. You're a big boy and you've earned your cocoa.
Goddamn right.
Maybe some marshmallows. God, I didn't buy any. I bought tons of savories. I didn't buy any sweets for Christmas. That's a shame.
Wow, you should probably just end your life.
Absolutely, just commit harikari. You know, just.
Hey kitty.
Hey,
I'm
kitty.
canceled.
Racism.
Oh no.
Cancel two guns. This has been the whole thing. First of all, your massive alt-right tirade on guns and cancel culture, and now you're going after Asian people. Oh wow!
Can we talk about Gamergate and Pizzagate real quick? Okay.
All I'm saying is women are a bunch of energy drainers. I watched some MGTOW shit. I watched some MGTOW shit.
That's why you have low energy.
Yeah, there might be some truth to that.
Oh look, man! I just want a country full of educated, smart people who smoke weed and shoot guns. Is that so much to ask? America?
Probably, yeah. And it's because there's already one, and it's called Canada. Oh.
They do have some guns.
They do, and they're adults enough not to whinge about it, though. That's the thing. Most of us see you guys.
They don't get it. They're not. Listen.
We don't get it.
Skeptical Jesus. We're coming up there, and we're going to take you under our wing. By that I mean annex you by force.
Last time you sent an army up there, it didn't end well.
Listen, they had stupid, shitty flintlocks, okay? We have big boy guns now, so we better watch out because America's coming to town, all right?
America's going to show up.
Incel run?
just gonna show up in Toronto, and in half an hour, everyone is going to be eating poutine, drop their guns, and everyone's just going to be eating poutine and smoking weed.
Here's what's up. What? Do you see a problem with that scenario? Look, skeptical Jesus, you and me, cultural exchange. I want your poutine, and you can have an M60. Let's go. Come on.
I think you're getting the better deal. I've had poutine. Although I haven't tried an M60 yet, I wouldn't say no to firing it up like some sort of anti-aircraft gun. Actually, that's a gun I would love to try, like a flak gun from World War II.
Dude, you know what you can do? You can go to Las Vegas, and you can go to, I think there's a couple specific ranges, probably Arizona too, but I know for a fact in Vegas, and you can fire artillery. They have a recreational artillery range, and I love it.
That is, and in Vegas, that is like one of the most American things.
Yeah, it's I mean, dude, if you've ever been to Vegas, it's just desert. There's the city, and then nothing.
Sure, I mean, if they can nuke it, then and I have been to Vegas. I normally side with the NCR. Although it's technically new.
I get that. Yeah. I get that joke.
Yay, reference, and I should have I actually got the NCR flag over there somewhere. I should hang it up.
Yeah, I have a Minuteman flag in my room.
Oh, nice. I don't like that fact that that's been kind of taken over by a lot of like yikesy people who hanging out in their videos when they're talking about like black people and quote QAnon shit. Yeah, I think one of them is Styx Axe and Hammer. I think he has a Minuteman flag, and it's a shame because the Minutemen weren't like that. They were all inclusive, and they were just local militias formed up to stop super mutants and bandits.
But Lev, Preston Garvey was black. How can I hate black people?
I have a black friend. Really? Would you call Preston Garvey a friend or just an annoying son of a bitch who every 5 seconds told you about a settlement?
I would call him a Lovecraftian nightmare. Fucking
another settlement needs help. Oh god.
Another settlement needs your help. Oh god.
I do love his outfit though. I like the cravat thing he's got going on. Like it's like a scarf.
God, that thing is legit though.
Yeah, I've seen some cosplayers dress up as him, and that's some gender swap. Preston is really hot because that coat shows off all the curves. Although Piper's my girl for Fallout 4. Like really? Piper is just I think she's
Piper's cute.
Yeah, have you seen her cosplay? Like, ooh.
Oh, cosplay. Yes, that's the thing. Here I am talking about the actual character in the game.
Well, in the character, I think
like some kind of cump.
Or maybe
Good.
Marie, or Curie rather, when you give her human body
Curie, dude, Curie's Bay. Oh
with
my
her little
fucking
pixie
god.
hair. Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? Kate too. Kate,
No,
rough and
I don't like
tumble.
Kate because that
Yep,
is the worst Irish accent I've ever heard. And
that's fine.
Gav from the
It's fine.
Miracle of Sound told her that on Twitter, and he got blocked straight away.
Of course.
He just and Gav's like Irish,
Here's
and he's like, "Oh, like I really like the character you were in,
look,
but your voice was shite."
look. Here's my stance on that, and not even Kate specifically. They paid her to do that job. All right, so I would far sooner put that at Bethesda's feet
Mm,
than hers.
of course.
Honestly, like if you don't like her performance and you don't like her as a voice actor, that's totally
Oh
fine.
no, I don't say that. Although she did,
But
she
like,
does respond by
I'm
just
just
blocking
so
everyone straight away. It's a
I
bit.
just have well, yeah. I mean, here's what's up. If I were getting shit like that constantly, I would too.
But it doesn't even come from a
You
bad place. But it is, of course, Bethesda is famously bad with audio. I think the worst example would
yeah,
be Wonder Woman,
yeah.
the wife of the owner of Bethesda. Um, she would often like do the voice lines in Oblivion for a lot of the women, and some of those takes were just horrible. And they
Dude,
couldn't.
Oblivion was a shit show.
And I love Oblivion. It is my baby. But the first thing you have
That's
to
great.
acknowledge about being when you love something is acknowledging its faults, and its faults are many. Hell, they kept
Yeah.
the flub line in you go to Anvil and you talk to one of the priests, and she literally like the dialogue cuts out, and you literally hear the actress go, "Wait, let me try that one again," and they kept that in. It's like a rite of passage for it's like you've heard Oblivion's
There's
bad. Go to Anvil. Check out one of the priests there.
my favorite Oblivion fuck up is the beggars who switch voices constantly.
Oh God, they're like, well, spare a
Would you,
coin.
would you
The
spare a
Colovian
coin?
Highlands are rough.
The Colovian Highlands are very dangerous. I would you spare a coin?
Blessings of man upon you.
Blessings of man.
Hello.
Oh yes, we just spent a coin. Like what the? Who was that guy high that day? Like Jesus Christ.
I love Yahtzee's take on it. You can listen to a conversation where a dude is shocked why that he's talking to himself, gets bored, wanders off, and then in the same breath says hi to him again.
Hello.
Hi, hello. What's going on with you? I don't want to talk about it. See you. Hello. It's just,
That was perfect. That was exactly it.
I'm an old hat at this.
If anyone listening to this has never played Oblivion, what you just heard was a one-to-one recreation of a common occurrence in Oblivion.
All to what is admittedly beautiful soundtrack.
What's his face?
Jeremy Soule.
Jeremy Soule is a wizard. Absolutely,
He is. It's a shame
all
that
the
it turns out that he might have like sexually assaulted people. But
don't tell me that. God
I know.
damn it.
Hey, it's like Kevin Spacey. You can acknowledge Kevin Spacey's the scum of the earth, but still a very good actor.
Dude, Oblivion and Skyrim music gets stuck in my head all the time. I haven't played those games in years. All right, like
I'll
to be
just,
fair,
you know, you can
to be fair,
detach the
certain
art
random
versus
commercials.
the artist. Oh yeah. Was there any tie-in with Skyrim?
7 cash now. What?
Was there any tie-ins for Skyrim for like Burger King or something like that? Because I love the idea of like getting like one of those special mugs, the giant like cups, with like the Dovahkiin or a dragon on the front of it. Like I need to check that out. I don't think there was, although it was played up, like it was built up.
I mean, it was. I don't think there were. There may have been. I don't think there were like fast food tie-ins that I can recall. There might have been.
Of course, you can buy.
I was
You can buy
21.
merch
I was
now.
in college. I was way too drunk and high to even be aware of the advertising for that game. I just knew it was coming out on 11/11/11. My roommate and I raced to GameStop and back home again, and to see who would boot up the game on our Xboxes first. I won. Fuck you, Frank. Also on the Two Guns No Ammo podcast, and
a link of which I should have put in the title. My bad. I'll do it after.
Yeah, but you don't love me, so
well, of course not. I'm using you to get success and power, and then I'll discard you, like all women do.
I do have that. I do have that kind of power. So
Indeed, I am your energy drainer.
you can drain my energy anytime.
That's for Plexstorm. um, what's the name of it? Yeah, Skyrim. The night it was out, it premiered, like it was launched at midnight, and the mall was open for the special event, and a bunch of people showed up, all randos from miles around, and eventually we all formed up this line outside of GameStop. I had a chat to some people. It was the first time I ever had a genuine chat with randos in Ireland about Elder Scrolls, and it was really cool. We talked about it, and then they went off to talk about music, and I know next to nothing about music, so I kind of just bummed around the mall. It's weird walking around a mall at night when nothing's open and no one's around. So that was an interesting experience all on its own. But we got these special baggies and everything they gave us. They were full of like, I've got this felt Dovahkiin hat, and I have like the two horrible books that were meant to connect to Oblivion to Skyrim. They're really bad. I wouldn't recommend them. But the worst moment and the best moment had to be the very first guy who came in to the store when we were all in line. He walked out, and in his hand was a special edition Skyrim Xbox, and he looked at us all going like, "Yeah, I ordered in advance," and we were just looking at him like, "You smug son of a bitch." We hope you dropped that thing. But I took it home, and
we're following you home.
Oh god, we should have jumped up. That was enough of us. But I don't know who we'd have had to like maul each other to get it. Like there could only be one. At the end of it, I'm just holding it up, covered in blood and nerd blood everywhere. Like
no, I'm the Dovahkiin. No, I am. No.
You're not the You're the Neverine. You take that back. Those graphics suck.
They call me Neverine. I'm a faded figure.
Honey, Neverine was a part of the best storyline in any Elder Scrolls game. But he's not as cool as the Dovahkiin. He can't shout and chop wood.
Dig up there is hard.
Morrowind, good old Morrowind. I can't wait until the modders finally re-released after Skyrim, the Beyond Skyrim.
I know they did it for Oblivion already. They did Morrowind in Oblivion.
That's like I follow the Beyond Skyrim and the Skywind people, which I sometimes get the two confused. But the Beyond Skyrim people they are doing everywhere, and it is insane to watch them. I've had a chat with a few of them once or twice. They really put my worries at ease, because I thought they were being too spread out. As it turns out that they're all active independent cells working on a different province. So I would personally think that they'd all just pool together and do one place at a time. But everyone's working at their own pace, and it makes sense too, because they're all doing it as a passion project. So whatever one they want to work with at the best. But I've seen more parts of Morrowind, and that looks amazing. Atmora looks kind of cool. Elsewhere is going to be brilliant. Even Cyrodiil looks great. There's like ruins left over from the war, and like giant, the occasional Oblivion gate half caved in. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, you can tell the love. But what I want to do is walk from Solitude down to Corinth, which is in Elsewhere, way at the bottom, and that means I walk the entirety of Tamriel. And at that point, I don't give a fuck about the main storyline. I don't care about being the Dovahkiin. I'm going to be a random, like, sellsword going across Tamriel, just doing whatever the fuck I feel like, because...
But Lev, if you don't participate in Bethesda's big epic, you're the fated hero one, the chosen one, Neo. If you're not them, then no one will like the game. No one will like it unless you're Jesus.
Meanwhile, you can play one of the most popular games of all time. Some of the most popular games of all time have no plot whatsoever. Like Minecraft barely has a plot. It took me years to realize there was actual storyline you were meant to do in that. Hell, The Sims. Like, what do you do in The Sims? You just create someone.
I mean,
that's it.
In those games, are you the chosen one? Do you fulfill a prophecy?
Technically,
do you get
Well, you did in
Does everyone
Minecraft,
tell
you are
you have the
apparently.
biggest, hairiest balls? Because if not, then
Again, Minecraft could sort out there with the balls. Although they'd be
I mean,
cubes. They'd be blocks. I
well, that's
I hope there is a
unacceptable.
mod for someone with like balls. Like, I know,
Unacceptable.
unacceptable. I cannot believe you.
Bleh.
You taint this game. Taint with your taint. Master your taint.
Oh yeah. Tain't likely.
Tain't likely. We tried to show Kai on the last Bearded Ramblings before the end of the year. We tried to show Kai Canyon Trail, and we couldn't find a link. Is there a link out there for Canyon Trail? Because you'd think so, but
There must be.
where does Ben go whenever he shows it off, like, and laughs? Like, where is it?
He keeps it in his asshole.
He probably keeps a lot of things up there.
Oh yeah.
Chat, how you doing, chat?
Canyon Trail?
Yeah, Canyon Trail. Message retracted.
Canyon
What did you say,
Trail
Skep? Did you say naughty things? You did, didn't you? Naughty.
Yeah.
Reminds me of...
He called you a neighbor.
Well, Jesus Christ is my neighbor, so that works.
Oh my god.
Morrowind is great
convenient.
because you could kill anybody and everyone, and I love how the storyline works with that. Like, you can kill Vivek, and he actually breaks the fourth wall and, like, says, like, I know that you're powered by forces beyond my control, so I won't fight you. He still will fight you, but it's very, like, generic. It's not nowhere near as fun. I wish there was more games with emergent storytelling instead of following the plotline. Want a story? I'd read a book. Yep, or better yet, get a TV show. I'd be okay with an Elder Scrolls TV show. I've even wrote a script for it, and the opening anyway. I have it in my head as like this magnifique work. It'd be brilliant if it could ever see the light of day, but it probably won't. But then again, The Witcher saw light of day, so. I'm down to clown.
I haven't played that either because I'm a fuck up.
Ooh, so many sexy ladies and so many in-jokes. Polish people love their puns, so there's tons of that.
Damn. So I found their website for the movie.
That
Canyon
would
Trail movie. No, it wouldn't because there doesn't appear to be a stream of the movie on there.
What about like a trailer?
I mean, there's those on YouTube.
No, that's what I was looking for. We couldn't find it.
Dude, just search Canyon Trail movie.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Right up.
And it didn't.
I'm looking at it right now.
What the hell?
Official Canyon Trail movie starring Buck Taylor. Canyon Trail movie trailer starring Buck Taylor. Canyon. Oh, that's different. Canyon Trail funding short. Canyon Trail funding long.
Colton Simpson, or just Simpson because the whole family was involved.
The Justice Riders Movies is the channel.
Okay.
They have a bunch of little clips.
And like you can literally see Speedy and everything there.
I don't see Speedy, but I see, like his dad and all the other actors.
Did you see Egghead was going to go to a Trump rally?
Yeah. I watched about 5 seconds of that stream. Yeah,
that was weird, but awesome at the same time. I thought it was... I was actually kind of hoping he would go, but at the same time I was worried a little bit. He'd either break down because they'd call him a bad name, or they'd take a swing at him. Because that's just the country you're living in right now.
Maybe.
But instead, he stayed home and I think looking after his cat, if I remember right.
Okay, guys. Today instead we're gonna watch a stream of a Trump rally and yell at the screen.
I can't believe they did that.
That was. I don't have a Ned impression. I can't.
Oh, gee, I can do it a bit like he always comes across as like what Morty would grow up to be from Mick and Morty.
He's like Morty crossed with Butters.
Yeah. Big props to his beard. It upgraded from coconut to Paul's ego very light. He's got a long way to go to get full Paul's ego beard, or this beard.
Paul's ego thin.
Diet Zigo. Now with 50% less. Diet Zigo. Imagine like the Diet Coke ads, but it's like TJ like pretending to be cracking it open and like drinking it, like, and it just has Paul's face on it. That's the can. So Paul, what's it made out of?
If you're watching, I love you. You have no idea who I am, Paul, but I love you. Oh my god.
We all do. He's been ever since he moved. He's been streaming like crazy
Yeah,
every
he
day.
hangs up with Trubisky now and then too, and that's usually
I
where I'm
know that's a
watching.
cool little crossover. It definitely puts
Yeah.
to rest the few people who still think there's some sort of like beef going on between DP and DFF. That's all finished. That's all done
I
and
mean,
dusted.
they don't talk to each other
No,
as far as I'm
but
aware.
they're
They're not like
civil.
friendly. Yeah,
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 yeah. Hell,
they're
Ben
fine.
gave TJ support when he was on Vosh, which was and he actually gave shit to Vosh for not letting for trying to like steamroll over TJ in certain points, which I didn't see, but it does show that like Ben still like holds them all in high degree of like respect and
Yeah.
kind of vice versa. But the people just want the drama. But the drama's not there anymore, you know.
No, I never wanted the drama. It broke my heart when that whole split happened. I was like,
Absolutely.
no, don't be. But Mom, Dad, please stop fighting.
And then
Um,
we ended up with 2 podcasts instead of one. Actually, a whole lot more because
yeah,
we also got ideology. We've got Tap. Uh, Billy now streams a lot. Not as many IRL
he's over on
streams, of
Twitch all the
course.
time.
Yeah.
He does a lot of like Fall Guys and Among Us and Magic the Gathering and stuff over on
And
Twitch.
what's it? Animal Crossing.
I don't watch him. Yeah, yeah. I don't go over there and watch him that often, but I pretty much only go on Twitch. What the fuck is wrong with me? On
Good old
Twitch.
Twitch.
When good old Twitch. Get your Twitch Twitches. Go to church. Get your churches. Go to church streaming platform now. Do it. We're going to hell. When DP goes on Twitch is usually the only time I go over there, and then I drop 1,000 subs on people to get the hype train going.
Oh yeah,
it's because that's how I roll. But
making it rain.
yeah, Billy's a sweet boy.
He's a very sweet boy.
He's a sweet boy.
Been trying to get him to come on the podcast, but there's probably like a couple of reasons why he wouldn't. Most likely because we're too tiny.
Yeah.
Like he's very he's very much all about the hustle, so he'd be weighing it up. But also, I don't know, like I'm thinking he would just have to. I don't know if you ever watched an episode or anything like that. There's a few episodes I really like pointing out. I like the one you were on. That was a good episode. Of Bearded Ramblings.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
I enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed. I like the one with Missy Ann, although Missy Ann's got so much haters nowadays that that was like one of the most
bullshit.
that's some massive
It's
downvote.
really annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of those stuck though?
Oh, very, very, very. No one cared that they were pissed off because everyone knew why they were pissed off. I mean, we get so few people watching this, no matter what happens, that if we get any downvotes and we have like a controversial person on, it's pretty obvious they're just butthurt at that person. And in this case of like Missy, like she's barely controversial. She's like she's
only controversial. She's only controversial, and then she didn't give some cumps her pussy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of what it boils down to. Sorry, guys, if you're watching.
Good old fashioned, grade A simping going on there. It's not just simping, but simping denied. They weren't good enough to be simps.
But one of those schmucks even tried to dox me because I was moderating Trubisky's chat.
Oh yeah, it blasted over here as well. Like,
how the fuck? Like
we were going to have one of them on as a guest, and then Shabby came and showed me this, and I put it all together. Like I knew it was something bad was happening. Now I really could put it together, and I was like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." And he just didn't like that one bit. But
I'm sure he didn't.
I also got him booted out of like 2 or 3 other Discords, and apparently they all said when he was told he had to go, he just lost his fucking mind blaming Missy. It's all Missy. Missy's this great conspirator who's controlling everything. She's like this spy master with like like calls all over the world.
Fucking thread spinner.
Yeah.
You know. She weaves the fates like
we see plans within plans, and Missy's just like fucking eating a sandwich or something. Like she doesn't give a fuck.
She's a single mother who's nice most of the time, has a bit of a temper now and then, and has big tatas, and you got feels, and you're
Mm.
salty.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. Like, I
And I
get
love
it.
how they're like throwing shade at
But
her that a lot of it can also be bounced right back to her. Like Tragic pointing out that she was like an opium addict. Well, Tragic's a fucking meth head. Well, that would be like me complaining that she did
I'm
it
not
while
even
I'm literally
I'm
getting
not even
drunk.
looking to throw. I'm not even looking to throw shade at those dudes because, frankly, before I was in it when each of those splits happened from
Mm.
Trubisky, and frankly, before all that, I liked him. I got along with him. I
I
tried
did
to be
like one of them. I
a
won't say.
pretty,
I never
pretty
actually
dude.
met Tragic,
I
but
was friends with everyone. You know, well, insofar as you can be talking to each other for a month or two in a Discord room. But I try to be an agreeable guy, right?
hmm.
Like, I'm not trying to have drama. I'm not trying to have beef. I'm not trying to have nothing. But they just don't let up. They don't
Nope.
let up. And like, if any of the shit they had to say would stick, then YouTube's not the place to vent it, for one thing. And also, it's not sticking.
Hell, they claim that she
So
killed someone, for God's sake. I think YouTube wouldn't be a good place if you knew someone committed murder. Like, I think it'd be better if you were to go and, like, tell the authorities. But no, because that's all a load of shit.
I'm sorry to say that it appears, I'm not a doctor, but that it just appears to be a lot of anger management and a lot of issues and a lot of projection issues.
No one likes to
And
get
and
rejected,
they're just,
so...
yeah, dude, I get it. I've caught those feels with
Mm,
people in person and online. I have been there. What I don't do is go out of my way to try to ruin their lives. I move on with my
it's
own.
so...
And I'm not even necessarily the best at that. But like, the last thing I want to do is make somebody hurt. Like, I I would feel so fucking guilty if Shabisky and I had a falling out and he like was super mad at me and there was no way I could make it up to him. Like, I'm I feel like shit. The last thing I would want to do is draw a bunch of attention to it,
mm.
much less start making shit up. I just don't get it. I just do not. And like, I've only known Missy like less than a year, again, through Discord conversations and like the Morning Wood and the Shab fam, and I love her to pieces, but it's still not the same as if the Shad fam were a real life and in person, you know, group of friends. Like you just, I don't know, man. I wish things had turned out differently. I wish
Oh, sure, this
people could
isn't the
just be
best
chill.
outcome, but as I told Missy, like, you are clearly 100% the injured party here, and no one's siding with them
Yeah.
except for losers like Shani and Rev, and even they haven't, even they broke ties with them. Like, they're on their
Yeah.
own, and it's of their own making. They've
I'm not
completely
gonna I'm not gonna say a
ostracized
single
themselves.
thing about anything those guys have done or said specifically, because frankly, if I'm not like really like stuck in it, if I don't have those DMs and stuff to reference,
Mm,
I'm not, I don't know for sure 100%. But the pattern of behavior and the things that are said versus what I understand have actually happened are not in alignment. And I haven't seen anything compelling to change my mind about that. And until I do, um, I'm going with with where the evidence points. Sorry, fellas, it's not on your side. I don't hate you, and like I wish you the best. And I'm just ultimately like not I'm not a wounded party. I'm not a except for that one asshole tried to dox me, and failed. Um, but like I just if you could just be chill, we could all be friends. Maybe not now, but going forward in future groups of people. And like that's just how
I
life
just don't
works.
really trust them right now, and I don't know. If and some of them I just have nothing in common with. There is one exception, I won't say which, but I'm still making my mind up on how to deal with them because this doesn't happen a bubble. This is like shit going on to other shit going on to other shit. So it's overlapping to other communities and other people, and that's just like that's how crazy it was. The fact that we got um, uh, mixed up in it was just insane. And like the geek room and the shit show, the DP community, if not DP outright, but Ben and Billy do know about it. How they respond to it is up to them. Like Underhaven, Like it just keeps spreading out and getting joined up with other butthurt things from other things. So it's
Yeah.
just going to end like G-Man was involved. Fucking Jesus Christ. Um,
Sorry, if you're sharing camp with G-Man, Shani,
G-Man and
and
Shani
Rev,
and Rev. Yeah.
like
Oof.
you have all your work still ahead of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, ooh,
It doesn't look
not
good
good.
for your arguments when that's what you're working with.
No. That whole camp has just been caught in way too many lies and too much bullshit, and you're not the wagon to hitch your horse to.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyway,
but what other wagon was there for them?
yeah, because no one else would take Brett Keane.
Right. Good luck with that.
I'm sure
Hope you
that
like
one ended
hope
up
you like knives in your back.
stabbing you in the back.
Yeah.
No,
Skeptical Jesus. I had to remove a bunch of stuff from the Trubisky game because of the split. They seemed so loyal as fans. I didn't see the heel turn coming. Neither did I.
hell, feel really bad for Admiral Murphy, who just put out that documentary like a week before the DP splits.
Really, I missed that.
You didn't see the DP documentary from Murphy back when he
No.
was. Oh, you should catch up on it. It's nothing like say the Christian documentary, but it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good one, all things considered. I
Is it
honestly
the same guy as Christian?
no, it's
Okay.
I forget who did that. Maybe someone in the chat will be able to tell me. But no, Admiral Murphy. Do you remember Admiral Murphy?
The name rings a bell, but
I
no.
think he's retired from the internet. Like I haven't heard from him in a long while. I'm on his Discord, but it hasn't been updated in the longest time. But yeah, he did a documentary, like a multi-part documentary on DP, and then like a week later, the split happened. So bad timing on
Damn.
his part. Yeah, and like no one knew that was coming, except for maybe DP themselves. I was
Yeah,
there
probably.
the very last DP with the three. Ben was off in Canada, I think, and when they came back, that all just fell apart. But you know what? Like it's all old news now. It's been like what 2 years.
Yeah, going on 3, I think.
Jesus, time fucking flies when you're
I think it
doing.
was like January or February of what was it, 2017, 2018, maybe.
That's some crazy ass shit.
I'm pretty sure.
I no, like I've found like I always say like I doubt Ben would have been happy in DP turning into DFF because that's clearly what they want to do with the show, and the same for the the other three. They didn't want DP to stay the way it was, so it was probably going to naturally happen anyway. But
I
what
mean,
I didn't
I'd
like,
say it did.
yeah, was yeah,
It did naturally happen.
yeah, it just ended
You
up,
know,
yeah, like it's
time to call it.
yeah, not like one day everything's gonna end. No matter what show, hell, YouTube itself will one day collapse or turn into something that's completely unrecognizable from YouTube, and you could argue that's already happened. Um, but it's like everything has to come to an end, and you'll be grateful for what it is. Like shows that run on for too long, and after a
Yeah.
while, like The Simpsons. Like at one point, The Simpsons was the show for me. I loved it. I absolutely adored it. Nowadays, I can't watch it. It makes me feel so sad. Like there's no jokes that'll make me laugh. There's no plots that I think have any real meaning. There's no the intelligence is gone from it. Like there used to be so much like witty stuff dropped in like background signs or just little commentaries that weren't too on the nose. Now they'll literally pause, almost like for waiting for laughter. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, you're a cartoon. You don't need to pause. And it's not weird because it's awkward. It's not funny because it's awkward, I should say. No, of course, nowadays there's a strong, just Simpsons sucked as a rule vibe going on, which I do not agree with at all. Because Simpsons didn't suck. It was awesome. And I will fight you in the gladiatorial pits. And lose because I'm really out of shape, but still.
Yeah, no, I was never big on Simpsons. I never hated them. Just never caught me.
Mm.
I was definitely more of a South Park boy.
Hell
Even as a
yeah.
little kid when I wasn't supposed to be.
Same. I used to stay up late and watch it. Used to be on
Dude,
I think
one time,
seven.
I think I think I was like 7 years old, right? And we're a bunch, a bunch of my family met up at my grandmother's house for some occasion. Doesn't matter. And and I got permission to spend the night at my uncle with my cousins, my guy cousins, and I was super excited about it. And I go up to my uncle, and I said something like, we're gonna watch South Park. It's gonna be great." And he was like, what? And then like he was like, okay, when does South Park come on? 10 p.m. Okay, you guys are going to bed at 9. And if I hear the TV, you're all in a whole bunch of trouble. I was like, shit. My cousin's like, what the hell, Jake? Sorry.
You gotta
I'm
learn to
7.
keep this
I was
shit to
excited.
yourself.
I was excited. I couldn't help it.
I remember
I'm
my ma.
sorry.
That was the only show ever that she ever didn't like me watching. For like 1 or 2 years, and then kind of it just like it zoned out. But I remember. Do you remember salty chocolate balls?
Sugar my
Oh,
child
no,
is
no,
dirty
ball.
balls.
Put them in your mouth.
Put him in
Put
your
them
mouth
out
and
and
suck
suck
him.
'em. They were. That was on the radio at the time, and
Yep.
like she heard that and she was like, "Oh my god!" And kids
Ooh.
watch this, and I'm like, "Well, kind of, yeah."
A pack full of vitamins ain't good for you.
God,
So suck on my balls.
the guy who played Chef, he was such a bitch when he left because he could make fun of
Yo.
every single other religion except for his weird ass one. Fucking Scientology is off limits? I don't fucking think so. You've got a bunch of Jewish guys making fun of every aspect of Judaism. You've got a bunch of Christians making fun of every aspect of Christianity. You've got Mormons making fun of Mormons. Everything under the sun. So yeah, Islam ain't off limits. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna
Well, wasn't he a Scientologist? I thought it was the
Oh yeah,
Scientology episode
yeah.
for a
My bad,
while.
my bad. Of course, Islam. That
Yeah.
was a different thing because they tried to show Muhammad,
Yeah.
and they did end up showing Muhammad. And they had to sketch him out as like a teddy bear.
Yeah. This is
Although,
Muhammad the Bear.
yeah, and Comedy Central muted Kyle's speech at the end with this really loud, like this long beep, and all of Hollywood and New York and LA was just like, "Go fuck yourself, Comedy Central." Yeah, like, I
Yeah, which
remember
is
John
like
Stewart
like
literally got a bunch of what do you call them, choir, like
hate
Baptist
mail.
choir
Oh.
singers, and they all were singing like go fuck yourself" towards Comedy Central. God, I miss
Oh
John
my
Stewart.
god. Yeah, yeah. Him, dude. Between him and George Carlin, I feel like we are without our North Stars anymore. We
Yeah,
have no idea what the
you know,
fuck's going
Carl
on.
never really took off. But we knew the name, but he never really took off over here, um, as it did.
Your
Like,
loss.
oh, absolutely. After what
I
seeing it, I was
mean,
like, ooh,
that being said, like it was very like a lot of, especially the political stuff, was very much American centric because that's where he's a New Yorker. Um, but yeah, he was and is one of my idols for sure. I mean, yes, it's not like I agree with everything he ever said. He is a comedian, not a ideologue. And even he didn't believe everything he said. However, the approach to thinking behind his comedy, it just always just rang my bell something
I always
close,
call his type of
and it's
comedy
something.
outrage comedy, but not in the sense of like, oh my god, but rather, this is a fucking joke. What the hell is going on? Like,
Yeah, it was a counter outrage
yeah, it was
almost.
like, this is so ridiculous that this is the world, and why is a comedian the one who has to say this shit? Although that's always been the case of comedians, they're always good at like putting lenses on the most ridiculous aspects of society. Um, uh, I honestly though I 100% like do feel like because SNL and because for the most part the Daily Show and Carlin, like we never really got them over here. We did miss out, but we had our own. Like BBC has like some of the funniest people on the planet, especially back in the day. Like comedy-wise. And we had shows that you guys did, and like panel shows wouldn't have done very well over in the States as they did over here, like QI and Have I Got News for You? Have I Got News for You? Fucking brilliant, decades long now, still with the original cast, where they just look at the days, like the week's politics. And they've had like real like politicians come on and get into heated arguments, and then someone will crack a joke, and it's very modern British. It's not like Monty Python British. It's very modern day English style, and it's I couldn't imagine that happening in America. In America, you guys would probably try to shoot each other. Like if there were the barbs
I
back
don't know
and
about
forth. No, I'm being hyperbolic.
but yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would like that sort of thing.
I would
but
love to
yeah,
see it
as far
try
as,
it.
as
But
far as large traction, you're probably right.
and like that's why I think the closest thing Americans got are like debates on YouTube between two opposing really bad, really like different people. Especially if they're both in a way a little bit humorous. Maybe one is too over the top with their political views or their religious views or their social views or any of those views, and another might just be like really clever. I'm thinking of it was Razor Fist. It was DP. It was a debate between Razor Fist and who was it? Was it Kyle? Was it Kyle? Anyone in the chat?
That's
No.
who I was trying to think of earlier, Kyle Kalinske.
Yeah.
However, I don't know if that's what
Was
you
it?
were talking about.
Or was it the guy from the Humanist Report? No, he's too soft spoken. He
I
would
don't
have done
know.
that.
You know, I've seen every episode of DP, and I'm terrible at memorizing some of this sort of stuff.
A movie when I start getting more about social commentary. Yeah, South Park was great for that. And it was great that they started off with the idea of censorship because, of course, years later, that's exactly what happened to them. And also, there's a great line in the Blame Canada song in South Park where near the end of it, so let's blame them before people start realizing to blame us or something like that. Yeah, like it's just like it's like the people who blamed TV shows, like the adult shows that kids end up watching. Well, why the fuck did you let your kid watch the adult show?
Yeah, I just mentioned the other day, just in another conversation, about how in Fallout, the original Fallouts, Med-X was originally just called morphine.
Morphine, yep.
And I forget if it was the U.S. or some government was like,
I think Germany.
We can't. It was Germany, or for some reason, I keep thinking it was Australia, but that's probably not right. But like somebody was like, well, you said Germany, so we're doing the German accent. Yeah, we can't have them using the real drugs in the video games. That's not good. It wasn't that such a great accent. Hire me, Hollywood. But don't.
Yeah, maybe later on you can stick your Doofenflot in my Doofenflot.
Yeah. So anyway, the shitty jokes aside, Med-X was originally. Mine was.
Go on.
Med-X was originally called morphine, and somebody somewhere was like, "Yeah, but that's the name of a real drug. Do we want our kids, having that advocated to them, even though these are rated M games and intended for adults, and we're just too lazy to make sure our kids don't play them?" And by the way, Med-X is still in the game. They just changed the name, and now that's somehow better. It's still a drug.
Even though they openly talk about how it's an opioid and it comes in needle form.
Fake drugs are fine. Real drugs are bad. Like what? You're dense. You're fucking dense. Like, you're an idiot if you think that is a good fix for anything. But I mean, at the same time, I'm pretty sure that morphine doesn't give you plus 25% damage resistance. So,
well, I don't think there's any real equivalent of a stim pack. Although Game Theory explain what would happen if your body actually was given like a stim pack and it healed your body. You'd be shitting yourself so quickly.
Yep.
Like it would because you're like, your body has to get rid of all that wasted material that it used to heal yourself with. So out it goes. Yep. Same with Rad-X.
Was it Game Theory or was it well, maybe they did it also, but I remember seeing it with
Science of Gaming or
was
something.
Was it Shoddycast or no? It was one of those.
Oh yeah, Shoddycast. No, they didn't.
It was that
they might have done that as
well. It was
well.
like, "Dear Bethesda, it's me."
Yes. God damn, terrifying. I remember that dude.
Yeah, dude, I love those videos. I think that dude's hilarious.
He stopped making as many of them since he had his kid, which makes perfect sense. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, well, how dare you have responsibilities, asshole?
I liked his Mass Effect one where it was talking about how Element Zero is a very good try but wouldn't work in reality. Or how like I learned a lot about physics from his videos on Minecraft, like how when you're in the Nether, flames actually hurt you more because of pressure, and like the closer you get to the Earth's surface, like fire burns brighter because it's like heated atmosphere more. Also like just little things like that that they put in the game as Easter eggs. But like, yeah, true. That's why I love videos. Like, there's so many great videos on YouTube to really like teach you shit. Like, I like Michael from Vsauce. Yeah. He's great when he's not charging you a fortune. Or Simon Whistler.
Dude, I love all this stuff.
Yeah, I was watching him just before you came on.
Biographics, Geographics, Business Blaze,
side products.
Today I found out.
Yeah, he knows his shit, and he's got a very nice speaking voice.
He's got a good team. It's him, an editor, and like and a scriptwriter, and I'm pretty sure maybe one more. And they definitely do good work.
I have a lot of history ones, like Indy Nidell. I follow him a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen his new stuff. I haven't seen him since
World War II.
World War One.
Oh no, yeah, the Great War. Yeah, that's when
his
contract ended, and the German team, like Flo and I forget the other guy's name, they've been doing between the two wars, and he went off to do World War II. He did a very good minute by minute Pearl Harbor video series.
Wow.
Like a few days ago when it was like the anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
And no shit.
Yeah, like it took like a week to make in advance, which is great too because earlier this year he got COVID.
Oh no.
Yeah, he turned out to be okay. Was it you who had COVID as well?
No. My dad currently has it, but
Jesus, I'm sorry to hear that. Is he all right?
He's all right. He did get sick, but he's on the. I think he's had it for a couple of weeks already, so it's just like the lingering, getting better part now.
Was it Magicus? Was it Magicus who had COVID?
He might have. I don't remember.
Don't know why, but I always lump him and you in the same vein.
We're actually the same person.
Cool.
We're actually the Holy Trinity. It's Two Guns, Magicus, and Jamarcus.
Good old Jamarcus.
Jamarcus.
I call him O Marcus when he's here because of course we do. It's only natural when you have someone on. You culturally appropriate them. God, these almonds are gorgeous. I don't know why.
Is it cultural appropriation for you to give the person?
No, I'm imposing cultural imposition.
Cultural imposition.
I'm imposing my culture onto him.
Wow.
It's like a lot of... I'm basically an imperialist.
Trying to be a colonial. Yeah, you're an imperialist. The
Irish Empire will rise again.
Capitalist scum.
I used to see a lot of Muslim dudes try to do that, like the really, really worrying ones, like the Islamic extremists wanting to set up like Shia states. They would be like, no, your name isn't such and such. You need a good Muslim name. Your name is Alul, Abal, Izad, and you're like, go fuck yourself, random person who I've been barely talking to for more than 5 seconds. Like, what the hell? You're not making the rest of your religion look good, especially post 9/11. This is the last thing they want people to be doing. You know.
I mean, if we ignore all that part of it, and it's just like, hey, I want to go live in another country, and that country, like, if we remove all the political bullshit, we're like, I'm going to become an Iranian citizen. Just let's say that we're even possible, coming from America in my case.
I'm sure it could. You'd have to be like some sort of defector, probably.
Yeah, probably. But whatever. I have no interest in that. But if we entertain the hypothetical here, and part of that process, if part of that process happened to be, well, we need to, domesticate your name basically to comport with whatever our shit is. Maybe, maybe if you're gonna call me, John. I forget the conventions, but they're family names, right? They're
Yeah.
they're very they're it's like John from Harlem, son of Steve, and son of whoever the mother, Stacy, you get these long. All it is just a record of who you are and where you're from, right?
Although they
At their
usually throw
fullest.
in things like Mohammed, just because like Mohammed is like Mohammed, and I think
Yeah,
Li, like from China, is like the most common, the two most common names on the planet.
yeah.
So if you ever meet someone who has like a name of like Lee Mohammed, then that's like the most statistically average name on the planet, which is kind of
How many Chinese Muslims are there?
millions, and not even counting the Uyghurs. Um,
Really?
oh
Chinese
yeah, like
Muslims?
Islam has been a part of China's culture for a long time. It's just that China
Huh.
always had its own culture, and it always tries to overwhelm all other countries. China's another country that does try to Sinofy in that case, I suppose, because Sino being
Yeah.
Chinese.
Nationalize.
Yeah, people who immigrate there, not just learning the language. Which, for the record, I know that a lot of people on the extreme right like demand this as a requirement. I do think it's just a simple practicality. If you are going to move to another country, learn the language. Like, just learn it for your own sake, if nothing else,
Yeah.
because they're always going to have that against you. They'll always yell at you and say like, "Why don't you speak our language?" But like, even if you can only do like halfway good of a job, the rest comes naturally the longer you spend speaking to someone. But like, at the same time, the context is a little bit off-putting to me when it's like, no, 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 your inferior Western system isn't important. What is important is our superior Eastern system. And I'm like, this is just a different, like, this wouldn't be cool if the roles were reversed, because we've actually done that in real life. So you doing it is no way better. But let me do that on
Yeah.
my own. Let me, like, acclimatize on my own. It happens naturally.
Right.
Like, if I started living in
Or it
France,
should.
eventually I would. Oh yeah, some people just can't conform to a culture. And you know what else? Sometimes a culture isn't worth conforming to. Like I said, like if I moved to America, I don't know if I would get a gun, because that's considered
Well,
like an important
n-
part of
n-
American culture.
I mean, you might be overblowing it there. Not to spin back into that subject, or no, but
No,
there is no societal expectation for you to own a firearm. That's not a thing.
what would be then?
And
Maybe owning a car.
no, not even that. I mean, I have loads of coworkers who even pre-COVID were taking the train to work every day at my office.
Are
So
you? Do you live? Not the docs or anything like that. Do you live like in a
you're good.
city or urban or?
I would drive to work. Taking public transit would be. I do not live in a. I live in like a small city, basically.
Okay.
But I live near Philadelphia, and
Oh,
people from Philly would take the train out.
you know,
And then there was a
nowhere
company
near
shuttle from the
Harrisburg,
train
are you, by any
station.
chance?
No. But
Oh,
I've been out there a couple times. But
I did some work up there.
like nice. But
Naughty,
yeah,
naughty.
what I'm getting at is a lot. Here's the thing: there's a gun for every man, woman, and child in this country, and then some.
And then some,
However,
indeed.
however, while we don't know what the actual distribution is, I'm willing to say that if a majority of people own a gun, a very much minority of people own more than one. And I don't know where those numbers fall exactly. With cars, it's probably more ubiquitous for sure, but in the cities, it's less and less common per capita because you're in a city, public transit. Hopefully, you're living in a place where you can bike or walk to everywhere you need. And a lot of the people at my who work for the same company that I do, you know, pre-COVID anyway, were busing and training to work and not driving, and often selling their car if they recently moved to the city because they're like, "Fuck it, why am I paying for insurance on this? It just sits on a street and gets its tires slashed once a year." No, so it's
Fun times for all.
they're yeah, and the only point of this tangent is to say that those are not things you need to wear. Like the one thing about American culture really and is like do just do whatever the fuck you want as long as you're not hurting anybody. the problem is that too many people, when I say hurt, if you take that more broadly and say like disrupt
Oh yeah,
or
like
annoy,
hurt doesn't mean like
um,
physically attack people or steal food from
yeah,
like starving people. Which, although
yeah,
technically you could then broaden it out and say, well, these policies do really take food from starving people. You know, like you're
yeah.
supporting them.
Some too many people have taken that to the point of entitlement, where they feel entitled to feel how they feel and entitled to not necessarily be challenged
I find
on
that a
what
lot
they
with
feel.
libertarians. I'm not going to lie.
I don't blame you. You're probably right.
And
But
not to show
it's not
shade at
just
people
them.
like Luca, who's a good friend of the channel, but he says he's a libertarian with a small L.
I mean,
Um,
I would probably be tempted to say the same thing about myself, but I think the way I would put it sooner than that is libertarian with the capital lib.
mm.
Like, it's probably how I would put it. Like,
Well, then the age-old question:
yeah,
do you think taxation is theft?
no, it's
Okay,
stupid.
yeah, good, good. I knew I liked
It's
you.
fucking stupid.
Like
It's fucking dumb.
anyone who's ever said that, I wanna grab one of the many empties that's glass based and just fling it at their head. Like, for God's sake, like what the hell? Taxation isn't theft. Now, organizing that shit is more.
Yeah,
That's like making sure it's efficient, making sure money
I
goes from
mean,
A, B, C, D. That's important.
I understand where they're coming from. If you hear if you hear Penn Jillette break out that argument, who I do very much respect, although he is more libertarian than I prefer, is okay? Well, what happens if you don't pay your taxes? Well, up to and including men kicking your door in with guns and taking you to jail, right? So,
Mm.
is there an option? Well, no. Therefore, theft. Well, here's the thing: your little libertarian idea. Again, my whole rant earlier was about ideologues. Okay, if your little idealized little libertarian utopia were to exist, we would slump back to fucking the might makes right. And like all it would do is cycle through what we know what happened, which is anarchy and then tyranny again. Like so you're not gaining anything. You're just making it harder for people to collaborate. The point of taxes is to give a government, which they insist is not required, period. And I say bullshit, because in the absence of one, you will form a new one. You definitely will, whatever form it takes. Because people who, again, like the day-to-day most schmucks, just care about living comfortably enough, being fed, having water and a roof over the heads, all the basics, and having some degree of economic freedom. Like, to do some shit besides the grind, right? And you can't, that means we need to pay other people to do things that we don't have the time to do. And if you think this one-to-one capitalist transactional system is going to work for the big, massive, spanning projects that got us and the rest of the first world to where we've gotten technologically, ethically, monetarily, all of it, you're living in a fantasy land. Like, you need like, it doesn't necessarily have to be tyrannical. It's just that the people who tend to gravitate toward the fact of the matter is that is power. That is the nature of power, the ability to affect, an entire nation, or even if it's just a city, even just a municipality, right?
Mm.
Like, people, and you see the same thing with cops. Like, there is some degree of like power dynamic that people lust for. Therefore, those types of jobs are going to attract those sorts of people more often than other fields. And just like whatever bad you have to say about our government or China's or Russia's or Ireland's or the European Union or whatever, like it's just people looking out for their own needs, hopefully not stepping on others in the process, and doing the best that we can. And so much of that stuff doesn't get done if there isn't a government doing it, or at least a government delegating it. We can talk about to what extent they should be doing what things. Fine, I'm fine, but you say taxation is theft, and I say you're a fucking moron.
Um,
TED Talk number like 5 tonight.
um, no, I just I think it comes from a very simplistic and selfish attitude. I mean, I know libertarians now are morphing into, or at least the consensus, but from the outside, looks like the libertarians are almost morphing into like monarchists or like so laissez-faire that they
Fascists.
yeah. Oh, I don't want to. I know that's used like sometimes, but then you look at Liberty Hangouts, literally talking about like the death of democracy is a good thing because Trump lost the election, and you just they're like, okay, this is the type of person that influences people. That's scary. That's really
Yeah.
scary
I mean,
because
if that's the
they're
position you
stupid.
hold,
It's not even that they're like intelligent. It's like fascists aren't smart. The idea is that the propaganda teaches you that they're smart, but once you look behind them, they have no idea how to run basic existence. So when things start falling apart, they blame other people. Like people like Liberty Hounds aren't going to admit that Trump lost because he did everything wrong. And he did. Like it's all his fault. There was no coup. There's no fraud. There's no hordes of Mexicans and Venezuelans coming up, or Canadians or Chinese to like flood the votes. The dead aren't voting. It's because he lost, and
I
she just won't. People out there won't understand and don't want to understand because then they'd have to admit so much shit about themselves.
I want to know how many like because because the reverse of them are, you know, your extreme left, right? Whatever Antifa pick. I'm sure there's others. Whatever. Like I said, head under a rock. You have those cats, right? I want to
Tankies are
know.
supposed to be a good example of extreme far left.
Sure, I'll take your word for it, right? Because I genuinely don't know. So I want to know in 2016, how many of them said exactly the same sort of thing? Democracy is dead. It's time to try something different, right? Because Trump won.
Mm. Hello.
There's a number of them.
Oh, you cut
Because
out there for a little bit.
I spoke to them. Okay. I don't know how many of those people there were in 2016. How many people still believe such a thing? Um, but I'm not meaning to erect a straw man here, but I know for a fact that the number is not zero, any more than the number is zero now on the right about Trump's losing. And if we have both sides saying that democracy is dead, are they both right? Are they both wrong? Or are they both fucking stupid?
I'd like to think that the
I
idea of
prefer,
American democracy is dead, and maybe you could start doing democracy like the rest of the world. None of this electoral college bullshit. But
yeah, that,
yeah, like that just ruins everything. Oh, but then places like New York would. And why do you think that they'd vote like against what you think? Is it because you aren't convincing enough? And there's tons of little nuances. Like there isn't like I don't think anyone like openly supports 100% direct democracy, of like no buffer in between. But the electoral college is just ridiculous, and it's like well past its point
it's a
of
farce.
yeah.
It's a farce.
Didn't isn't that how Trump won? Like he lost the
Yep.
popular vote, which should mean
Yep.
as a democracy he lost the vote, but instead like here, what happens is when people vote, they'll pass it on to their representative, who then, no matter what the vote, will then agree on it.
Yeah. That's what every other facet of this little democratic republic we have over here. It's what the whole three branches is designed to do. It's why there's a House and a Senate. It's why, you know, like it's all about, and you know, I'm not saying it's all that is necessarily good, but the point is, to, you know, have these checks and balances and to pass the will of the people up through the filters of power to where it can be forged into something actionable legislation, namely, right? That's the idea. And it's only, as far as I'm aware, as far as these big federal things go, the electoral college that that deviates in such a weird non-democratic way. Like they don't have to cast the vote that their constituents do vote. Legal and others have done great videos on it, especially in the wake of this last election. about how the electoral college works and how all the states set their own election rules, and how all the lawsuits that happened, or many of the lawsuits between states fell out immediately because they didn't make any fucking legal sense. All the it's just such a convoluted fucking mess, and the only reason that I can glean is to give a handicap to the right wing, or at least to the Republican Party. Um, and man, what?
What?
I'm not necessarily in favor of a straight
Oh.
democracy. Sorry, I'm just
No, it's
being
the way you said
rhetorical.
it. It sounded like someone wrong with your computer or something like that.
Oh well, I mean probably, but not at the moment. uh, but yeah, I mean whatever. I'm rambling at this point, but I think you get my meaning. I
I
agree.
think we've been rambling for the past. How long has this been going on for?
2 hours
um,
at least.
yeah,
Going on three.
Jesus, we're almost at 3 hours now. Um,
Yeah.
go for a little bit longer, like another half hour maybe, and then wrap it up. This is the last. This won't be the last stream of 2020. I'm gonna do like a live stream, probably on Twitch, for just New Year's. I won't be going anywhere because nowhere will be open. So I'll just sit out on the balcony and talk to you guys, and we can count it down together. Um,
Hey.
but this is the last charity stream, so for what it's worth, if you want to help out the stream, just check the links down below in the description. Throw in, uh, go to the shelter's website, throw a little bit of money their way, and if you do tell me, as I would be very curious to know if I've been helping out in any way. As this year's been a bit rough for me as well as most of the earth, but for me it just would be nice to wrap something up once as planned. But you don't have to either. I don't want to guilt you into it. Just if you do tell me, and if you don't,
I'm so
then don't.
I'm so sick of you guilt tripping me, Lev. I'm
I'm
like
very guilt
I.
centric. It's my Catholic upbringing.
You lick cats? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I like cats.
The
They're
cat
they're
the cat lick
surprisingly
upbringing.
they're surprisingly
Oh,
tasty. Yeah,
Wow.
kitty cat. I wish I had a kitty.
Come here, pussy. Let me lick your pussy. Oh yeah.
Hairy pussy, gonna lick it.
Oh. Oh yeah. Oh.
This is why I didn't tell them when. This is why I didn't tell them that I'd be streaming, like the details of the stream, because I have a feeling that they're like a very family oriented charity, and like I just
We opened
swear
our
normally.
discussion with cum socks.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. God, that seems like a lifetime ago now.
it does.
I'm only halfway through the bottle of Fireball here.
Wow. I only had I had a little bourbon, I had a little vodka and peach sparkling juice a minute ago. Not much of a drinker these days.
Yeah, that's
So
healthy
not
for you,
sober.
but hopefully you do get chance to enjoy yourself when you can.
Yeah. It's not even like I drink too much, I need to stop. It's just like I don't really feel like it.
Yeah,
Usually when
that's the main thing. Like sometimes you just gotta, realize when is a good time not to drink. I don't like. I play up drinking as much as I do. I don't drink nearly as much as some people think. I usually end up just drinking about 1 day a week. But this being Christmas and everything, there's lots of booze on sale, so I picked up a couple of bottles of booze and a couple of
yeah, I actually got some booze
some
delivered
beer
well.
as well. I'm looking forward to
I don't
tomorrow. I've got nothing. I've got nothing planned, but that's why I'm looking forward to it. These charity streams. Between the technical issues and the fact that I just can't gauge if you guys are donating or not, has kind of put me in a little bit of the defeated mood set. But I've enjoyed it. We've it's been good for the channel if nothing else. Gotten views, gotten subs, and
nice.
especially the one with Shabisky and Durnon. Christ, that was pushing nearly 100 views at one point.
Oh man.
Yeah, for me that's crazy numbers. Like I'm normally like lucky if I can get like 10 or 20 people watching. So I'm very appreciative of that. Then next year the podcast is going to be streamlined. I'm going to finally get around to do reviews. I did try to do a review, and of all the movies I started off with, it was fucking Cuties.
Why?
Because I wanted to see if it was as bad as people said it was, and
Why?
well, I've already said my piece on it. I can't
Why
recommend
would
it
you?
in the slightest.
Why would you do that? Why?
Why? Beep boop.
Why?
Beep boop.
Beep boop. Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend it.
It's bad enough to know that movie exists, frankly.
I don't like how it's played up as a sort of feminist angle, and then they're completely objectified. Like I think they want to have their cake and eat it too. Which okay,
Well,
on a movie like say Showgirls, all right, fine, that's something. But at least they're 18 and over.
Well,
These
here's
girls,
the thing.
they're not even like 50.
You're clearly just not in line with fifth wave feminism,
Fifth
which
wave
advocates
feminism.
for open sexualization and suppression of women.
The booklet for fifth wave feminism should just be the word "re."
Get back in the kitchen. No, we've come so far.
Unironically, ironic sexism, which is something that happens all the time. Like I've noticed women more often than not now are just being over the top, and it makes me wonder how many people will look at it and be like, "Oh wow, they must really hate being women." And you're like, dude, like Casey Tron's great for that. She goes and often just like says the most sexist thing towards women, but you can tell she's not taking it seriously because I don't think she has the capacity of taking anything seriously. So, but I could still imagine.
Isn't that her whole?
That is her whole stick, yeah. Like I actually would feel. This might sound weird, but I'd feel really bad if I were to be like dating her. Like I couldn't take anything she said seriously. It'd be like, I love you. Sure. No, seriously. Right. Yeah, of course you do. You know, like, it's just like,
it would depend on how on what real Casey Tron is like. You know what I mean?
Well, you get to see you get to see her whenever she did the stuff from the bar and stuff like that. You'd see her have. She had a huge, massive fight with her sister once in the car, and it was just really awkward because, like I said, they're either fantastic actresses or that's all 100% white trash going at each other right now.
Damn.
But no, I think she's right. I think she's a fantastic. She's a fantastic creator. I need to start watching more of her stuff whenever she streams. I'm usually either streaming myself or someone else is on. That's
do it already.
Yeah, I should do it.
Be the change you want to see, Lev. Damn it.
I think you're correctus.
Now, while you do that, I'm going to sit here wallowing in self-pity, abusing drugs and alcohol, and jerking off too much, okay? And being real upset about it.
Hey, you can do both. In fact, that'll be like your reward.
I believe in my dreams.
So like
Hey, what's the sound of one hand clapping?
It's I believe it's called, what you mean, one hand fapping, don't you?
No, I mean clapping.
Well, that sounds very similar to fapping.
Doesn't it? It's probably because skin's involved.
Flesh.
You can't see it because I'm not on camera, but I can clap.
Meat. Moist, succulent meat. That's all we are.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking edgelord doomer. Like, oh, what's the point? We're all just horrible. We'll just grow fat and die, and no one will care.
Sound like me.
And you know,
Am I on the show twice?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been playing this game the whole time, and we haven't talked about it once. Is this Origin?
Yeah. No, we talked about it very briefly. Yeah, this is Origin. This is
I made it about halfway through the tutorial of this game, and then I put it down.
Look at Shale's big ass. That's a chunky ass right there.
That is a chungus.
You know what? You know what it reminds me of? That terrible Fantastic Four film where they put the thing. They actually have the thing.
Yeah, the
Um,
rubber suit.
yeah, and his giant ass and his dangling balls.
I'm only even aware of that because of Red Letter Media.
Christ, that movie was shit. The dude who played the Human Torch, the black dude, he was just mopey the whole time. Like, like that's not
Wait,
what.
I think we're talking about different movies.
Which Fantastic Four film we talking
I'm
about?
talking about the Roger Corman really cheap one in the 90s.
Oh no, that's the only. You mean the only one that was actually good?
I mean, maybe I never saw it.
No,
I've
like it's
seen
the
about
only
it.
one that actually it never saw the light of day, and it was the only one that actually.
Yeah, it was never
um,
legally released.
So it was never quite finished. But yeah, that was the only one that was actually like passable because they all knew how to have fun with that show. Now, I'm talking about the last one that was made, where
Oh, the most recent.
yeah, the thing is like the thing they use like CG to make him look all like an actual like rock monster, where they actually like animated in his ass cheeks and like his he has like like just this weird looking cock and balls because of course it's also made out of stone. Um, that those films like the Fantastic Four is so hard to get right because people always forget that it's about the Fantastic Four, not about like anything else. It should be fun and goofy, like
Well,
not
they
seriously.
always do the origin story because they feel like they have to.
Yeah, because
It's
it's
not
a
a very
comic book
good
movie.
origin story.
No, they just get hit by
And
gamma rays. Maybe Doctor
yeah, now
Doom is
four of them are
involved
different for
sometimes.
some reason. Yeah. And then, like, I don't know. It's always that movie, and it's never good.
I
It
I
just
want to
isn't.
see the one where DC and Marvel meet up because of Reed Richards creating a trans-dimensional portal and setting a probe in, but the probe had like a genetic parasite that mutated on it, so it started to like basically like the Blob, the DC universe. So when they finally get the Blob thing under wraps, they track it down and they think that Reed is like the greatest mass murderer in human history, and it's just about Marvel trying to protect Reed Richards, which also then leads in, I think, into the zombie crossovers that they did. Because remember, the zombies and uh, comics
No,
used
I
to be like
don't
a big
because
thing.
I don't know anything about comic books.
I
I'm
only know a
afraid.
lot of this stuff from like Linkara. I used to watch the shit out of Linkara. Um,
Not I, said the two guns.
um, yeah, like honestly, I absolutely love certain elements of comics, but movie adaptations, they sometimes don't match up. I mean, remember before like the Marvel Golden Age that's now just kind of slowly dying off, like the comic book movies we had, like the 90s and early 2000s, like fucking Catwoman and Daredevil, like Elektra,
Oof.
they were fucking terrible.
I only saw Daredevil out of that bunch, and
Oh, I hate Colin Farrell's like Deadshot character. Look at the Irish. He's just grimming the whole, like he's grimacing the whole time. Yeah.
that's all. Like, I don't know.
No, Colin can do range. He kind of has a very sort of Christian Bale gawking face. Sometimes he does. Like,
Yeah,
I liked him in
yeah. I think that's
Tigerland.
what I was thinking of.
That was some good shit.
Tigerland.
It was like a short. It
Uh,
was the film that made him kind of famous. It was like set in the
okay.
Vietnam War in a training center in like Virginia, and about this these got like all the politics of the time crossing over, and eventually results in like he's the one who just wants to get out because of course they were conscripted in, and he just thinks that if he's just a jackass to everyone, he'll be just dismissed from the army. But it doesn't work like that, and he just eventually has to learn to be not so much a piece of shit. It's solid enough, but it's also not preachy. Uh, I think after I slaughter these generic name thugs, um, I
Oh,
think
mate, what's your name?
I'm
I'm
thug number
Thug.
one.
What's your name?
Thug.
I'm Thug too. Want to have a beer? Yeah, all right.
Have a banana.
Hey, hey, that looks like a protagonist. Go get him.
Will we die? I don't even have a
Okay,
name
he's a
tag.
protagonist.
Remember that?
He can save and reload. Shut up.
Maybe he'll be dumb and set it to insane difficulty. We're set on easy. Oh, bloody hell. It's like those two. Did you see that? The remake of that. Those two speeder bike stormtroopers in Mandalorian. They
No.
get into this weird It's like a YouTube video, and they get into this weird existential argument about how they're clearly the bad guys in someone else's story, and they're doomed to fail. And they're like, "No, I want to take control of my own destiny." Well, so then we have to do the exact opposite of what the universe wants us to. Then the hunter killer droid shows up looking for the child, and he's like, um, well, it's a droid. Sometimes they miss. They haven't missed for years now, not since the Clone Wars. They all seem to hit suddenly. So what do we do? Like they have no idea what the fuck to do, because they've kind of like psyched themselves out, and then they just get shot anyway because the plot does want them to die. It gets into a weird metaphysical thing, and I love it because they do that in they did that in Mandalorian. They had a little like fourth wall breaking with the speeder bike troopers.
Huh.
Have you seen Mandalorian?
No.
Not really your cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen 8 movies.
What? You serious?
And that's it.
So
I've seen the original trilogy, the prequels, and The Force Awakens.
I thought you meant like in general, like you've only seen 8 movies.
No, I'm sorry, Star Wars movies.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Skip! I just saw that that sentence. Democracy isn't dead; it never lived. The Edge. You could cut yourself on that. Be careful.
Right. I did cut myself. I'm dressing the wound right now.
Oh, that's a good field triage right there.
I'm billing you, Skep. All right.
Yeah, he's from Canada. He can afford it. His medical will cover him. Oh, I know I said I would do like another like half hour or so, but no, I'm.
You're a fraud. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm zoned out. And it's technically now Christmas, so I just want to say Happy Christmas to everyone here, and yes, even Happy Holidays. Christmas.
You libtard cuck.
Absolutely. I want to thank you there, Two Guns, for keeping me company while I gibbered and indeed jabbered.
Yeah.
Has been rough. Anything you want to shill before we wrap this up?
Yeah. If you're bored, go to Two Guns No Ammo on SoundCloud and YouTube. There is a backlog of 90 episodes. The further back you go, the worse and more drunk we are. I put out an album under my other pseudonym, Neurarchy. It's available on all streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, even YouTube. Go check that shit out. It's weird progressive metal. It's pretty fun, and I'm working on some more of that. Don't give me money, though. Give it to Lev or the other podcast of your choice. I have a job. I have a job. I'm fine.
I like that last part. That part was good.
Also, I would have to report it to my job if you gave me money, and I don't feel like doing that. So don't.
Yeah. It's all got to be sorted out by tax man. Fucking IRS.
More than that for me, but other subject. But that's it. That's me. Two Guns No Ammo.
All right. As for me, this is the last of the charity streams. It is now technically Christmas. I am going to vanish until New Year's. You might see me in Discords and the like, but I'm not actually going to be on screen until then. Then I'll be on Twitch for the New Year's Eve. Then in New Year's proper in 2021, assuming that the planet isn't destroyed by a giant asteroid, this is a final cherry on top of the shit Sunday that was 2020. I will be updating the schedule, so you'll be able to see. I still don't know yet. I'm making some changes to the to Bearded Ramblings like layouts, but I've got to go through Krendar before I can show you any of them. Obviously, he's going to be important, and I still have to work out the whole PayPal issue. That's going to be fucking annoying. I'm thinking I found the loophole, but I've got to talk to someone about that. As for the charity,
I hope you fuck that loophole.
Oh, absolutely! I'm just going to stick it right in there, all the way to the hilt. Yeah, like as for the charity, at this point, you know what to do. It's go down to the link and click on it, scroll down, throw some money, and tell me, I suppose, in the Discord or in the comments of this video. Beyond that, standard shilling stuff like share and subscribe, join our Discord, join Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you probably already are on Twitter. Have a happy Christmas. I am just going to Netflix and drink and Netflix and eat and Netflix, and YouTube can just fuck off. It could just fuck off for a few days.
That's the spirit.
It could I don't care if I come back to find like I've missed the biggest bombshells. I really don't. I just want away from this for a little bit, so I am. So take care and have yourselves a fantastic Christmas. Even if you don't celebrate it, find some time to just defrag and enjoy yourself. And I'll see you guys for New Year's. So slán lot, and I forget the Irish for Merry Christmas. It's like Nasha Nala Hullig or something like that.
Happy birthday, Jesus!
Happy birthday, Jesus. Sorry you end up being stripped to a big hunk of wood. That must hurt. But you don't know that at the time because you're just a baby and you pooped yourself. Poop. I wonder if Jesus' poop had any magical qualities, or was it just regular shit?
It probably was.
You think like if they buried it, like that part of land would just become incredibly fertile?
Yeah.
Flowers and shit would come out of it because that.
Yeah.
No, that's forget being a carpenter. You could have been like the greatest fertilizer salesman in the in Judea.
Oh, the greatest, you say? I feel like Shabisky might have missed his calling.
Selling shit. I think he's doing it right now.
Oh.
And on